Greetings, greetings, ladies and gentlemen, beloved Japanites, hello, and welcome to Paintingu. My sincerest apologies for my tardiness. I have been very busy. Many things to do, many things to paintingu. Like descending to proper paintingu posture. My top knotto is not fluffy enough. I prefer the frayed top knotto, when it's all just sticking in one direction like a sharp brush or some shit. I believe it's a bit feminine, a bit arrogant looking. But it is frayed and bushy, like some sort of mutant hairy monkey tail. It brings me joy. How are you all this fine evening, my beloved Japanites? Are you well? I not only have my agua, but I also have coffee. I did not get to bed until very late last night. It was a great honor for me to be involved in the celebrations for Mr. Witterbarrow's birthday, which was yesterday. I believe he is 50 as of yesterday. And our very own Terracaster Bear, aka Jogegunu, or the Peddleroo, as I call him on stream. I was up till like 2 a.m. to engage in the festivities, the celebrations of one of our Pharaoh Bears. I was up all hours of the night. You know when you stay up late to do something, especially something like that, where like, you know, it's not like I was fucking it's just a bit of crack, like, do you know what I mean? You just like, there's a difference between staying up late because you need to do something and staying up late because you want to do something. And I was just buzzing after it, you know. I like, even though it was only like a 30-second interaction, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was already exhausted. Like it was about like 8:30. It was about 8:30 in the evening yesterday. Oh, glorious Kepu. And I was like, oh fuck, how the hell am I gonna stay awake? Because I was up like early yesterday as well, like, you know. And like I try to be up early like as often as possible. But then sometimes, like, I don't mind staying up late if it's something to do with, like, you know, me painting something or creating something or doing something to do at work, because then I feel like, you know, it's worth the lack of sleep or the, you know, the change of routine or something. But then you care, like, because you're trying to be self-employed and trying to be like, to set these limits on yourself and set these like self-imposed rules and stuff, you don't, like, you never, well, I haven't in God knows how long, like, you don't stay up late because you want to, you know, because that's like, because you're just shooting yourself in the foot, like, you know. I've done it, like, obviously I did it in the beginning a few times, you know. You get that like, be grand, like, I'll still get up tomorrow and, you know, do work or whatever, like, you know. But like, the reality is that if you're going to be in any way efficient, you need to like have a routine of like, get up early, do the same shit all the time, and stuff like that, like, does tax your, like, your energy output. So I am late for many reasons, and because I am late and because I am hungry, I will occasionally not only be sipping, but I will be nibbling on a beautiful golden warm scone covered in butter. Paintingu is becoming more ASMR by the day. Oh my god, that's so good. Oh, locally made, all natural ingredients, big, thick, buttery scone. So good. I feel like I'm I feel like I'm raising myself from the dead with some kind of ritual involving, you know, imbibing certain fluids and eating something. Oh, the coffee's like the perfect temperature. Oh, I'm like an ad for coffee and scones right now. Anyone selling coffee and scones right now should just, like, you know, get a camera on them, quick. O'Neill's coffee and scones. You just can't get enough of them. They'll bring you back to life. Like, remember Al Murray had, I think, the English comedian had a joke about like smelling bacon, or bacon is evidence that God exists or something, like. I think that was the joke anyway, where like he's like, because he describes being hungover, like really badly hungover, and like he's very eloquent about it and like really funny about how he describes being hungover, because I don't think he directly says he's hungover. You know, like, I woke up with a severe headache and all because I was blah blah. Like he just tells a story, and you're like, okay, he was hungover, and then he can smell bacon frying from downstairs in the kitchen, like, and all of a sudden he finds himself putting his pajamas on and all, like, you know, and like making his way downstairs, like, you know, and it's kind of like that. It's like, I think they do that in some, like, and they do that one of the famous Disney movies where like a smell, that like the image of a smell wafting, you know, like a pie or something, like it's in loads of cartoons, like, you know, the smell of the pie is like slowly wafting through the air. It's just like, oh yeah, you just start following it like some kind, like a moth to a flame, like. Oh, Dimarshu, Grefu, Demon Hunter Beru, Dick Fodu, welcome to Paintingu. How are you, ladies and gentlemen? Are you well? Excuse me while I nibble. Oh, I want to eat it while it's warm, you know, but I gotta do the stream, so we must compromise. So I might play the intro tunes and like say funny faces, do funny faces and wave the fan while I quickly nibble the scone, because I don't want to be occasionally, like, you know, nibbling. Like some sort of overgrown squirrel. Oh, but again, yes. We are here now, Paintingu can begin. I have my excuses for my tardiness, but they are irrelevant. Excuses are irrelevant. Irrelevant? Irrelevant? Right. Tobias! Hand me that hammer. Are things in frame? I think so. Right. Oh! Paintingu goo goo. How dare you? Hey, I know I'm Rive! Can't you see, phone? Look! I'm Rive! You fucking stupid piece of shit. You are Rive on YouTube. Am I? Am I now? Jesus Christ. See, that's why everything's gone to fuck, is because some people are that retarded. Some people need their phone to remind them that they're live on YouTube right now, like, you know? Like the fucking, like Owen's saying about the boomer section. Like, we're there again, you know, like, just like the boomers would be watching telly and that thing would come on and be like, do you know where your children are? It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? There's people who like go live on YouTube and like it won't even register until their phone emails them. And it's like, you are now live on YouTube. Oh, I think people like me just find it fucking annoying. It's like, why, stupid phone, why are you telling me I'm live on YouTube? I know, I pressed the button, you piece of shit. You flat, rectangular piece of shit. I hate these things. It's like fucking using a bar of soap all the time, even when you get a decent cover. Big blocky ass one with like rubber fucking bits on it, so there's plenty of friction with your hand. Phrasing. Sick of this shit. Tobias! Let's fucking go. Prayer? No. Oh, grow skipper. Ba-bum. Oh, perfect. Many's a time I have begun to pray the tunes, only to be utterly bombarded in my ear spheres. I'm always like using them to watch Netflix or some shit. And I do have the thing like way higher. And then I come in and use it for Paintingu, and the volume is still that high. So I end up sounding like this because I'm trying to shout over the music in my head. It's like, dude, just turn the music down. Oh, fuck. Oh, I need to make sure that I get to bed like relatively early tonight. Oh my god, it's so good. I love coffee so much. I might be addicted to caffeine. We may have a problem. Apologies. I'm full of apologies today. I'm sorry for being late. I'm sorry for eating a skull. I'm sorry. It's a bit dry. I should have put more butter on it. Ugh, I'm still getting used to being human. You know? Well, demi-human. Being a demigod, it's not easy. Ugh, you don't know how limited I feel. Ugh. Ah, the music is permeating my spine up. It's telling me it's timer. Oh. I'll put it over there. Paintingu! Paintingu. Paintingu. It's Paintingu! That's the right. Painting you! Painting me! It's Paintingu! It's fucking goo! Painting you! Painting me! It's Paintingu! It's fucking goo! It's goo, not go. It's goo. Go is a game. This isn't a game. Paintingu is no game. Goo. I am always shouting over the music inside my head. But I'm not wearing headphones. It's silent. It's like he's in the kitchen making tea or something like. And yeah, Mrs. is like like will you bring down the fucking laundry for me or some shit, like, and you're like, what? Like, what are you shouting for? Like, I'm trying to drown out the music in my head. I seen this video of some bitch on YouTube, and she was like, she was like, I was driving in the car with my husband, and I turned to him, and he was just like staring out the window, and I was like, what are you thinking about? And he's like, nothing. And she was like, what? So like, when you're not like thinking about something. Ah, somebody has a subscribe to. Excellent. When you're not thinking about something, it's just like blank. There's nothing there. And he's like, yeah. And she's like that. She's like, when I shut my mouth or like close my eyes, like when I'm not talking and I'm just like in my head, there's like 47 tabs like on a screen. And like I'm one of them, like I feel like that, like when I'm not like thinking out loud, because I do that, like when I'm on my own in the house, when there's no one around, I talk to myself like I'm another person. Like, and some people, like I'd say, I know a lot of people that would be like, you know, oh, that's a sign that you're crazy or something. I don't think that is like true at all. Like if you were just out on your own in the wilderness and you never spoke even to yourself, would you not, like, it's like use it or lose it kind of thing? The next time you meet someone and they start talking to you, you just be like, just looking at them like they have fucking 10 heads. You've been gone for 10 years! How did you survive? Where have you been? What have you done? And you're just like, you're so used to just like, I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that shit. Like, maybe that's why I do actually, like, that to me might be proof that I believe in God. Like, if anytime I imagine myself on my own for extended periods of time, I'd be like, so, what are we doing now? like, what do you mean we, nigga? You're on your own in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, but like, you know, they're there. You know, like, somewhere. Who's they? I don't know, but they're there. You know, like, you mean the stars and the planet? No. There's something. There's some shit up there, or down there. I don't know. Within, up there, over there, in there, down there. Does location really matter? You know, is where something happens really that important? I don't know. Must be nice to have a scone. Indeed! I have another one! I'm gonna make you even more insanely jealous. I've actually, this is my like this is my second scone. I was about to say my fourth scone, but like, they're quite large because they're like locally made by some amazing person who knows how to make amazing scones. And because you see like most scones, like look at that, like that's a fucking, it's like a coaster and it's thick, you know. Crazy. You see scones in a shop, in a coffee shop or some shit, and they're like fucking tiny. They're like a cheap yo-yo. They just get scone all over the mic. Oh god. I was like, I have to do PEINTEINGU. I don't have to, you know. I don't have to do this. I don't. Which is why you should pay for PEINTEINGU. You ungrateful fucks. But that's not necessarily true, is it? People shouldn't have to pay for something I genuinely like doing. I love doing this shit. I need it. I bereave a part of me like yearns to like just act the bollocks and like create stuff. And this is an excellent combination of the two. They're just taking a piss. Oh god. I'm exhausted. But I'm not. I'm in one of those, like the last 48 hours or so. I'm wired to the fucking moon, but I'm exhausted. I'm very hopeful for the future. I'm full of positive energy and I'm very optimistic. But at the same time, there's a lot going on. Things are crazy. A lot of milestones in my life. You know, I turned 33 this November. My sister's moving into a house with her friends. Her boyfriend. Our home we grew up in for 20 odd years has been sold a few months ago. My mother's in a new house with her boyfriend. Things like, you know, took years to move on with our family in many aspects. Painting go. Painting go. Painting go. Just painting go. Painting you! Painting me! Need some gold. I need to pee. I've had a lot of coffee. Just painting. Just painting. No apologies needed, Defenderu. Well, in that case, I'm not sorry. For a wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. Oh, fuck. There's only a bit left. Painting go. Bum, 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 bum. Stop my mustache. Oh, God. Oh, shit. Snap the mica. Right. We still have much work to do on this painting go of Demolish You. We made good progress yesterday. The windows. And Brother Stabaroo gave us some funky tunage. It was excellent. Right. Where's my squirty thingy? Let's get this go wet. Oh! Bro, you skip it. Squirt, squirt. Squirt, squirt. Squirt, squirt. Squirt, squirt. Squirt, squirt, squirt. White needs 3 squirts. Ugh, it's a bit thicker. Oh! Right. Typical Irish weather. I wish I could take a photo of that. I'm looking at the window right now and there is like deep, dark, grey clouds. And then right just like what looks like beneath it, but it's like a couple of miles in that direction. There's beautiful white fluffy clouds that are clearly lit, being lit by like a beautiful amount of sunlight. Like it's beautiful. Like the colour is just gorgeous. It's so weird. It's like it looks like it's like a thunderstorm right there, and then just like feet away, it's like paradise. Ireland's fucking, for a small place, like comparatively to other places, Ireland is gas when it comes to the weather. Like that happens a lot here. And I don't know why I notice it more here. Maybe it is the topography, like the surrounding topography. It's very like where we are situated right now. It's very there's lots of hills and stuff. But fuck me, the weather changes in a heartbeat. The absolute scorching beautiful sunshine 1 minute, and then boom, shower. What the fuck? I like it though. It's refreshing sometimes. Don't get me wrong, it can be inconvenient or like wreck your voice, but like most of the time it's just like, oh, that's nice. At least when the temperature is okay. Winters here can suck. Right. You know what that means. Crap for painting go. Hold on, I dry all the caffeine out of my mustache. Crap for painting go. Are you crapping? We better be crapping. I don't know who Fiona is, but she subscribed to Painting Good. Excellent. This is good. More Japanites! Mmm. Oh, grow you skip it. Right. Let me see. Where shall we begin today? The background is not finished, but we're appraised. I have appraised many aspects of the background in. The background doesn't have to be perfect. I want fucking D and the zombie and perhaps another nurse down here. Like, I want to focus on them and to put some detail.
Create a unique instrument.
Create yourself an exit from my stream, heathen.
Subscribe.
Be gone, mortal. Oh yes. So, in my inability to sleep last night for many hours after doing the birthday thingy for Mr. Whitberu, because you know when you're just buzzing and you can't go to sleep, I was listening to some funky tunage. So, today on Paintingu, we are going to skip the dancing with the demons. And, first I will show you what I was trying to play. For anyone who saw my, fucking appearance on Instagram last night, and I thought it was as funny as I did, that I started dancing, and I was like, engage tunes, and you couldn't hear the fucking music. And I'm like blaring them, like I had the music like fucking mad loud here, like, and I was trying not to wake the female up, like I just wanted to make sure. I was like, that has to be working, like, you know. And then Joe Gagan's like, you know, like, turn the music up or whatever, or what you're ever trying to do, like. And I was like, oh fuck, are you fucking serious? Are you, like, is he taking the piss? Like, please tell me he's taking the piss, that I didn't just, like, because that happened before. I think it happened on stream, or like, I can't remember what happened, but like, I did the whole intro. I don't know if I did the whole intro, probably at least 5 minutes of it or some shit, but like, I did a big chunk of the intro, and there was no music. I did the whole thing. There was no. I think me and the female actually sat down and watched it one time, and I'm just like, I'm going nuts. Like, I'm like, what? You'd swear, like, you can tell that I can hear the music. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just what makes it hilarious. Is you can tell I genuinely believe there's music. Cause like, I don't know, like, you know, you can just tell, like, you know, cause instead of like pretending that there's music playing or trying to have a song in my head or something, like, you could just tell that I'm like really enjoying the tunes that I'm playing, and the audience can't hear shit. Oh god, I was in fits of laughter. Like, when I went to bed last night, I was like, I can't believe that happened. That's so funny. And the fact that it's happened before, I love that shit. Like, oh, thank fuck I'm comfortable with making a fucking complete ass of myself. Like, you know, it's like, can you imagine I did that live? Like, wait, dude, there's no music. You know, like, what? Just like giving it socks. No, seriously, we can't hear the tunes. No, fuck. I love shit like that. Those are some of the funniest scenarios I've seen in like comedy skits, where like one character like isn't aware what is going on in the background or something, like, you know what I mean? Like, some of that shit could be hilarious, like. But anyway, when I was saying happy birthday to Mr. Whitbear, I was I wanted to stick this on.
This is you. Wait, no, this is you.
This is you. This is your birthday. No, this. I wanted to stick. That's why I said, like, Joe was like, what was it or something, like, I can't remember what he said. I was like, it was Ukrainian. It was mad, like it goes hard, bro. Like, I can't believe it didn't play. I was seriously like this is what I was playing. Like, I was like, happy fucking birthday. Like, oh god, I couldn't stop laughing. I was saying, especially like, I only actually realized this morning, like, for sure, you know, because you can't go back, and like, because they're still live, I couldn't go back. So when I checked it this morning, and I was like, oh fuck yeah, like, was he taking the piss out of me, or like, you know, fuck, did the music not play? I was like making coffee and I was just like, oh god. That's fucking brilliant. Oh fuck. Oh, I'm nearly crying. Oh, that's fucking hilarious. Just like I was fucking playing this so loud and I was giving it socks. Just oh, I'm such a retard. Oh fuck! Fuck Instagram. Instagram's like audio software is such a load of shit. I know my phone picks up everything. My phone picks up fucking everything. Like, you know, you're on a phone call or whatever, or you have someone on this, like you could hear shit. Like, you know, like it's just some apps like. It's just fucking like that shit makes like technology makes me look like a retard sometimes because I assume technology is just gonna work. Because like everybody goes on about how great technology is and how convenient it is. It's not. It's like it's anything else. It's like technology is now a fucking like insanely big middleman between us and just being able to do things. You know, like that's why I love watching those videos on TikTok of like these Chinese guys like from scratch making their own paint and making their own paintbrushes and then making their own paper and then like making their own fucking tiles that like can stamp an image and shit. And like you're talking like days or weeks or even months of like, you know, painting something and like getting the materials together and like, cause like the raw materials, you know, like you're like mining like lapis lazuli or fucking cobalt or something, or you're like picking hundreds of flowers that have a particular like, you know, shade of purple on their petals or something like. And then like you like grind all this shit down with a mortar and pestle. Like you have to make yourself a mortar and pestle first, you know. Like shit like that, like, you know, like actually from scratch make something. Like you literally harvest coffee and then like go through the whole process of like analog style, like old school fucking medieval shit, like grinding it down and then like making a campfire, like an actual fire. None of this fucking like kettle bollocks. This piece of tin that screams at you, like, you know, like boil water and then it's just this thing that's like, ah! It's like I get it. Like, there's a use to that at least. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, I know that it's boiling, but like, can you not just like lift the lid off and check or whatever? Oh no, it's like it's more convenient. Like, it's more convenient to make a screaming kettle than just like lift the lid off the pot and like see if the water's bubbling. Like what if I'm not in earshot? I won't know if the water's boiling. Like I get it in the sense of like if it was gonna boil over or something, you know. But like if you know what you're doing, you can just leave it for ages. Like just leave it to its business, you know. It'll boil gently. I think if you leave something like that and it overboils or boils over, whatever way you want to say it, like is that not like? Is that not the consequence of you like not doing it efficiently to the point where like it's too hot? Like that's the problem. The thing you're boiling is now it's not just boiling. Now it's gonna melt. Now it's gonna fucking like boil over and go all over the place and shit. Like so like you want to be one of them chads that can like make the perfect kind of like setup where like the heat is just right. Like you have it like just the right amount of distance between the flame and the pot or whatever you've got it in. Like you could use distance as a variable, you know, or you could use like I don't know, different types of fuel, different types of like, you know, you get it down to a fucking absolute like perfect science where like you could literally just set it up and let it go, and even if you don't come back 8 hours later or some shit, like the thing's just like still at the perfect temperature to make coffee. Fuck machines. Right. Talking to yourself is sane. Conversations with yourself as Napoleon. That's insane. I know, but like, where do you draw the line? Because I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't like. I know this is gonna sound a little bit arrogant or some shit maybe to some people, but like, I'm just being honest. I don't know whether it's my creative mind or whatever, but like I feel like I'm a little bit of a. If schizophrenic means that you've got like, you know, well, I suppose schizophrenic isn't multiple personality disorder, is it? Like, but I don't think I have multiple personality disorder. I think I have aspects of my ego that I've fleshed out to such a point that I actually think of them as like separate sides of the cube that is me as a whole. If you think, like, I think I've said this before, it's like there is a guy in my head that kind of is like a fucking samurai, you know, who's like patient and wise, but a bit cold, and like, you know, like a bit too emotionless, and like he's not very fun. He's a bit cynical and like expects things to go wrong and for him to have to kill people. Like, you know, and then there's definitely like a clown side to me. Like, I love the Joker. I've always loved the Joker character. Like, I really relate to that kind of like pure pathological yet somehow weirdly logical in a really dark way, in an apathetic way, like, do you know what I mean, to the point where like people with any shred of empathy are like, dear God, like, you know, like I completely relate to that shit. But like the things my actual behavior on a day to day, and the way what's that? I always forget that word. Fucking the way I not conduct. That's a funny word, isn't it? Talking about energy and shit all the time. Chi. The way I conduct myself is not of like a crazy person or like a ruthless samurai. Like the way I conduct myself is with great, like, you know, like I've said on the stream before, like I love puppies and shit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm a fucking big, dopey, cuddly, you know, child. Like, in a lot of ways, where like a lot of people, like, I'd say darker, like more like, you know, someone who's like a real go-getter and like real serious about making a shit ton of money would probably call me like lazy, or like I have no ambition, or like I'm weak or too nice or something. But like, none of those things are true. I'm real laid back. I go with the flow. And like a lot of the time, yeah, you could describe that as like path of least resistance and stuff like that. Like, but I'm still very assertive and discerning and shit. Like, and I've said this before. I think that's why one of the reasons why I kind of have this slight obsession with balance and symmetry and all these things, where I'm like, everything needs its place. Like, you know, I probably could be like to some degree autistic, but what the fuck is autistic? You know, like, for all these people out there that call themselves truthers and shit, like I look at the real fundamental stuff. Like, that's why I like Dylan Sakoshia's books, where he starts talking about words and their fundamental meanings and their root, like, etymology and shit. Like, where I'm like, what is this autism you speak of? Like, define autism, like, you know? And then I start playing with like the words and what they sound like, because like, what is an ought? You know? There's loads of different isms, like a mechanism. What is this? Juju's trying to call me. Start video. Will this show up on stream? Bitch, do you know I'm streaming right now? Hold on a sec. Hello? Hello? Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you. I'm streaming. that was the most genuine and hilarious oh shit I've ever heard in my life. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm streaming. Oh shit! She hangs up. All I heard was like beep 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 beep. Oh, I love that woman. She's fucking hilarious. Oh, she probably feels like an idiot now. She's like, oh fuck, like, like. Oh, I love that woman. She's gas. What are you doing right now? I'm streaming. Oh shit. Didn't even try to say sorry. Didn't even try to speak out. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Part of me was just gonna. It came up on the laptop, and part of me was just gonna go click yes. And I was like, oh wait, like, what if Julie doesn't want to be like on the stream? Like, you know, you just like go live now. Oh, that's hilarious. Don't worry about it. I'm just sitting here talking shit. Like, part of me didn't even think I was gonna end up doing the stream because I've just been so busy and I'm so tired and shit. I've like, my mind is fucking. Like, I'm all over the place. Like, I'm absolutely all over the place. I don't feel like an idiot. I'm just seriously sleep deprived from massive charité from massive charité. What's it? Is that French for shit? That you have a massive shit? You're just seriously sleep deprived from this massive shit you had. I've had shits like that. I've had shits where like it feels like an endurance test. Do you know what I mean? I've eaten a lot of junk in my day, like, do you know what I mean? Like fucking like takeaway and all that shit and fucking, and you know, like have like really bad just like general dietary, like, and then posture, you know, indigestion, stuff like I've had 2 hernias. Like I got a hernia when I was 8. God only fucking knows what's wrong with the inside of me in so many ways, like. But I've had shits that, like, Jesus Christ, like, they ruin your day. That ever happened to you? You just don't feel great, like, already. But it's not like you know, it's not like you're just like, you know, oh, I feel so crap. I'm just gonna lie here and stay in bed. It's like, no, I feel kind of crappy today, but like, come on, let's crush life or whatever like that. But then like you have a coffee and a cigarette or something, and then your bowels move, and then you're kind of like, oh god, like, you know, that's oof. Like, is that the lamb kebab or the onion rings, or is it both? I knew I shouldn't have got garlic sauce. And like you just have one of those, you just drop a deuce, and it like to like the long like I've been on the toilet for like half an hour sometimes. Like that can't be healthy. I think that, like, I want a squat toilet. I'm sick of being a Westerner in so many ways. Can't you tell? In so many ways, like I think we need squat toilets. It promotes like healthier shitting. You know, Westerners can't squat. Most of us anyway. Like, there's so many of us that just fucking can't, like. We sit down when we work. We sit down when we shit. We sit down when we eat. We sit down when we consume entertainment. We sit down. It's so bad for us, you know. And it's the way we sit. I'm not saying like sitting like as a rule, like as a whole, is bad for you. You know, it's not. It's how we sit and why we sit. You know, sitting should be like a restful thing, and like should mainly be for like, you know. Sure, leisurely things, but like leisurely things in the sense of like enjoying food, you know, tea, good conversation, shit like that. Like, and you should only do that for like approximately 2 hours live on the internet every day, Monday to Friday. You know, just chill. The rest of the time you should be like active, making shit, doing shit, you know, breaking shit. There's good ways to destroy things, you know. Destruction and degeneration are not like in themselves inherently evil, you know. I think that's why a lot of us are like comfortable with being like a certain level of degenerate, you know. All right, like it's fucking. I'm gonna have one more drink, like, you know, like. Maybe, I've had loads of that. I've had loads that were like, it's like be grand, you know. I don't know whether that's the Irishman in me or like just me, like, you know. I don't think it's just a cultural thing. I think that's a very human thing. Like, if you have shelter and, you know, like you're dry and fucking you have food, if you don't like have to worry about your most like basic needs, like you start to gain this like complacency of like, sure, why not have all the grapes? Like, like I'm just gonna eat all the cookies, and then all the cookies are gonna be gone because I ate them all, and then I'll have to get more cookies. You know, like it's like you don't. I don't believe in like I don't believe in scarcity. Like, do you know what I mean? And I'm sure there's a lot of people that would be like, well, if all the cookies are gone, all the cookies are gone, Alex, you have to make more cookies. It's like, well, then make more cookies. Like I was saying, be productive. Make shit. Go make a cookie. You fucking negative fuck. Smooth, Jujo. Like, I'm working on a huge competition. Competition? You're working on a competition. Have slept correctly for over a week. Haven't or have? Haven't. You haven't slept correctly. I'd mad bitch. I know what that feels like. Serious. I haven't slept. Like, even though I've been getting like decent hours of sleep, like I've either had bad sleep or I've slept for like a few hours and had fucking intense dreams. I don't know what's going on. Like, you know, I genuinely like. This year's been mad for me so far, and like it's only what 4 months in. Just on a personal, like spiritual level, like on a fucking awareness, conscious level, like loads of things have happened where I'm just like, holy fuck, and it's good though. Like I feel great. Like I was even saying to the female earlier on, like we've been fighting lately and stuff like that. Like, you know, nothing major. Like, you know, it's just like there's been difficulties and stuff, and both of us have like a lot of very natural fears and doubts about things and stuff, like, and we needed to chat and stuff like that, like, and but it's profound when you actually go through with it, you know, like it's like thinking about being in a fight and what may or may not happen, and then actually being in a fight, you know, there's like two completely different things. Thinking about what someone may or not say or how they may or may not react, and then like actually having a conversation or whatever like that, like, and it's very interesting to see how things actually happen when they actually play out versus this is why it's so funny with science has all its theories, you know. It's like, well, this and this is this and this and the X plus the Y, and we've calculated that, like, blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, but did you actually like do it, like, you know, prove it, like show me. Like the fucking, like, I know Kung Fu. Show me. You know, like, fucking show me, bitch. Hello, Kobaru! Coming in when you're wrong, what's it called? Profile name again. Hilarious. What is Charette? And where can I acquire some? I know, it sounds like, because it sounds and looks French, you kind of just like, it's probably something delicious. I was like that, like French culture is really cool in that way, like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, ho, 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 and you just assume that everything feels good, tastes good, smells good, sounds good, looks good. And then you go to Paris and it's fucking like smells like shit, looks like shit. It's full of shit people. I've never been to Paris. I've just heard that shit. When I went to France, like where Juju lives, like, man, fucking, oh my god, it's like idyllic. I could totally live there, right beside the sea, you know, just absolutely beautiful, unbelievable scenery, you know, and people are real nice, and like the language is cool, you know. I don't think there's I'd have to think about it for a while, but like, I don't think there's a language that I would be like, oh no, I can't stay here. Most languages have like, yeah, you know, when they're spoken by the native speakers, who people who can actually speak the language, like, then it has that, like, it's just like listening to a different kind of song or something. Because like everybody sounds like a cunt no matter what the language is, like, based on their tone, you know. Because you have to, like, think about it, like, the first thing that comes to mind is like Chinese can sound awesome. But like then you have like Chinese bitch, you know, giving out about something. She's like fucking, you're just like, oh god, that's like incredibly irritating. But it's irritating when a white bitch does it, you know. or a black bitch. I've never been with a black woman, and I find them incredibly irritating when they're like giving it a load of lip. You motherfucker, you know, all the hand signals and shit. Like, you know, I'm like, oh, shut up, bitch. Like, I can't stand that stuff. It's the same in any culture. It's just how it's said. It's like when Billy Connolly said that, like, no matter what language it is, no matter what language it is, like a Tibetan monk could come up to you that has like no English, you know, and you could be like him, you could be Scottish, and he could do something, and you could go fuck off, you know, and he'll go, oh, you know, he's not gonna think that you're like, you know, really happy about something, like, do you know what I mean? Because it's not just what you're saying, it's how you say it and your body language, you know, and like energy and all this crap, like, you know, and different people are used to different shit, like I'm sure you've heard where like fucking foreigners go to like Germany or some shit, and they're like, I thought these two guys were arguing, but then they like started laughing and hugged, and they're like best friends, because it's like, you can be really aggressive, like, you know. You can be very like direct and and like, you know. But like I get that, like I get like that. But like when I'm around, like when I'm hanging out, like more usually with a male friend, and like you're talking about a video game or something, and you're talking about how like satisfying like a gun feels when you shoot it or some shit, and it's just like, oh, it's so good, like, you know, it's like that's kind of like aggressive, you know, and like it's weird. It's like because like, you know, when you fucking like you there's different ways you enjoy things. You know, like I don't enjoy ice cream. I don't fucking like I don't take a scoop of ice cream and go like, oh yeah, this ice cream's so fucking good. I'm sure there's some people that do that, like, you know, but like ice cream doesn't make me do that, like, but like I'd love to fucking drive a monster truck one day. Like that'd give me that feeling, you know. I'd love to learn how to play guitar so I could like do the stuff with a guitar that I like hearing in other people's music. That gives me that feeling of like, oh yeah, that's fucking awesome, yeah, you know. Like I was on like Bear Banter one time a while ago with our very own Demon Hunter Bear, and I was talking about the first sip out of a can of Monster and what it feels like, and probably like that's probably why like Monster is so addictive to drink and shit. Like, you know, like half a liter, like 500 milliliter cans, like that's crazy. It's like half a liter of sugar and like chemicals and all this like fucking crap, and like I'd crack one of those things and go like gulp gulp gulp, and just like 3 gulps, the first 3 gulps out of it, and I'd stop and I just like swallow it and let it hit, and within seconds, like as I'm swallowing it, I get this rush of like, oh yeah, like the Kool-Aid guy, like, you know, the Kool-Aid joke that comes through the wall, like, you know, like, oh yeah, like what is that? Is that the ginseng root? Is that the B12 vitamins? Like, what the fuck is it? I don't know what gives you that, like, oh, I feel like I could like rip a fucking elephant's head off with my bare hands right now, like, you know. I don't know what it is. It like just pure testosterone in liquid form? Like, for anyone, does everybody in this chat or anybody in this chat, like, I bet Demon Hunter, I bet you know about this. But there was a YouTube video years ago where somebody made a fake ad. I don't know if I spoke about this on stream before. I probably have. I don't know, but I don't care. I love the story. Fuck. I love this memory even, like, and it's like, I was with an old friend of mine. He's been on the stream, Damien, fucking El Damo. I love that nigga. He's so funny. Like, I think we were just like hanging around in my dining room, like with the PC. We had with the computer on, like, you know, and we're on YouTube. And it's like, I can't remember if he suggested it or if he just found it. He probably suggested it. I don't know if he just found it. But like, it's this thing called Power Thirst. Somebody made a fake ad for like a fake energy drink, right? And it was called Power Thirst. And it was the funniest thing I had ever seen. It had me in fits of giggles. Like, this is like, I was still pretty young. Like, I don't think I was like drinking or smoking at this stage. You know, because you know, like when you start like taking drugs and stuff, especially when you're smoking weed. Like when you smoke weed, like you find stuff like really funny. You know, like you'd be doubled over and like you can't fucking breathe. Like you'd be in bits. Like, and you also get kind of that, like, you know, kind of like that when you've been drinking a bit, you know, and you're a bit loosey goosey. You're like stone cold sober. When you're stone cold sober and something hits you in the funny bone that hard, like you can't beat it. Like, you know, like you can't fucking beat it. Like, and I remember it's like, what was it? One of the things that was like power thirst, all the different flavors. You want strawberry? Well, how about raw berry? And like I did like put images on screen that were like really, really like badly, like, well, not badly, like, you know, you could tell it was just like done in paint or something. That wasn't even like Photoshop or some shit, like, or if it was Photoshop, it was the most basic like crop and cut, and like it's just so fucking fun. Power thirst. Like I part of me wants to put it on. I fucking love this. Like, this is the shit I live for. This is the shit that, like, this is the stuff I could die happy, like, after I saw this. Like, like if I died in the next 50, I'm like, I really am a nigger. Instead of 15 seconds, it's 15 minutes. If I died 15 minutes after seeing this for the first time, I think I would have died happy. Like,
Hey! Do you want to feel so energetic? Try Power Thirst. Energy drinks for people who need gratuitous amounts of energy. With all new flavors like chocolate. Chocolate energy. It's like adding chocolate to an electrical store. Sound the alarm. You're gonna be uncomfortably energetic. You want strawberry? Well, how about raw berry? Made with lightning. Real lightning. Sports. You'll be good at them. It's an energy drink for men. Energy. These aren't your dad's puns. These are energy puns. Turbo puns. Science, energy, electrolytes, turbo lights, power lights, more lights than your body has room for. You'll be so fast, Mother Nature will be like, slow down. And you'll be like, fuck you, and kick her in the face with your energy legs. You'll have so much energy. Just running all the time. Power running, power lifting, power sleeping, power dating, power eating, power laughing, power spawning babies. You'll have so many babies. 400 babies. Give chocolate to your babies and they'll be good at sports. Make your babies run abnormally fast. They'll run as fast as Kenyans. People will watch them running and think they're Kenyans. They'll race as fast as Kenyans against actual Kenyans, and it'll be a tie and they'll get deported back to Kenya. Hey, go with the sure thing. Don't gamble on your energy. Snake eyes. Try Power Thirst, the energy drink that will make you soar.
oh god, that's one of the, like, that's seriously one of those things where I can't, like, if I had let myself laugh, you wouldn't have been able to hear it. You would not have been able to hear that over me laughing. Like, I was laughing internally the whole time there. I'm like fucking nearly crying here. Like, energy legs. Like, it's like I nearly want to immediately just play it again. It is legit one of the funniest fucking things. I just want to go on a clips thing now. Like, have I played? Can anyone tell me? Have I played Ride Wife Life Good? Have I just like said watch that, or have I have I played it on stream? I can't remember if I've played it on stream before. Like, Ride Wife Life Good. Wife fight back, kill wife. Oh man, seriously, like this even like this is only 20 seconds long and it's brought me so much joy. Like, this is like one of the funny that commercial just stresses me out almost as much as the liquid itself. Oh, seriously, that's my kind of vibe. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? It's like insanely over the top, like, but like in a weird way, like dry humor. Like, do you know, like, I think that's why I love Archer so much. Like, you have played it before. Oh, I don't give a fuck. I'm playing it again.
Right, wife. Life good. Wife fight back. Kill wife. Wife gone. Think about wife. Regret.
The fucking music. The music is so celestial. like this is a profound experience for this gorilla. Oh my god. Oh, I could play this 10 times. I probably am a bit autistic then. If that's a good metric, I could play this 10 times in a row and laugh to the same degree every time I fucking play.
Right, wife. Life good. Wife fight back. Kill.
It's perfectly done. Not only is the voice perfect, like, right, wife. It's so dead. Life good. And then the music kicks in. This is legit one of the funniest things I've ever fucking seen. Like, oh god, I love it so much.
Right, wife. Life good. Wife fight back. Kill wife. Wife gone. Think about wife. Regret.
Oh fuck. Oh god, I'm fucking crying. Have you ever played Go Bois? Do you guys know what Go Bois is? When that little girl is holding on to the fucking lead of the dog and the dog takes off. She's like, go! Bois! Again, it's like 4 seconds or like 10 seconds long. And it's made me laugh so fucking much. Welcome to PEINTEINGU episode 128. Defenderu's favorite funny clips. Oh my god. It's literally 3 seconds long. What sounds gay? Go Bois or the fucking the gorilla? Oh, this is hilarious.
Go!
That little girl is like so enthusiastic. She's so like she's not only enthusiastic, but she's like adventurous and like firm. Do you know what I mean? She's like, go dog, go forth and like conquer. The dog is like, okay, and fucking takes the fuck off, and she just gets wrecked. Like, oh Christ, I hope she's okay.
Go! Go!
She makes the perfect, like, you could record that and put it in a video game. I might one day, like, like if I make a cartoon one day. Nothing made me laugh as much as Karjitsu. Oh my god, I forgot about Karjitsu. I swear to god, I forgot about that. I think maybe that's one of the, like, I have like so many things in my I was only talking there the other day. I was like, I don't have any materialistic things from my past. Like, I don't have any stuff that are like, you know, like a book or a fucking toy or like some kind of knick-knack or like anything, you know, from like my old life, in quotes, from when I was younger. And but I have like snapshots in my head of like like the funniest shit I've ever seen, and like moments I've felt like, you know, like really good. Like when I was talking recently about like being at that gig with my friend, and I like put him on my shoulders at like one of our favorite songs and stuff, like, you know, like shit like that's cool. That real in the like stuff that's only gonna happen like a few times in your life, you know, and like you really want to like enjoy that shit. Like that's the stuff you really want to like make time to create opportunities for that shit in your life, you know. Just those random moments in life. Could be a camping trip, could be fucking anything. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like a gig or like a festival or a fucking go mountain climbing or like, you know, go to an exotic country, or like just like you could just be like that could have just been that could have been a different band in a pub, but like if it's about you being with someone and like really liking the same thing, you know, like that's what I'm on about. Like, you know, I think that's kind of what like I feel about like this stream, and like why I don't care about like views and stuff like that. Like the only context I care about the metrics of this stream is like if everybody left and everybody stopped watching, I'd be like, all right, well, what did I do wrong? You know, like, was it something I said? You know, like, but because you guys keep showing up and we keep having a laugh, I keep doing it, you know. So like that's how I judge things. It's like, in a sense, very utilitarian, but not in a weird way. Like, do you know what I mean? Because it's like, well, why do you keep doing it? Well, it keeps working. Well, what's the objective? Well, there's not really an objective. Like, there is and there isn't. Like, I do this, what? You could say many things, like to entertain you, to make you laugh, but it's like, it's not just about you guys. It's about me too. You know? That's how I treat it. I don't come here with like a fucking what would be the way to describe it? I don't come here with like a, right, it's time to like make you people happy. You know? Like for the next 2 hours. Like, I don't come here with like, you know, it's my responsibility and my duty and my job to like do, like, in a sense, maybe, like, if I was to describe it, like, I feel guilty if I don't do it because I feel, in a sense, duty bound. But it's not like I've taken a vow or anything. But like, you guys support me and you guys like want me to do it. So like, I feel a sense of guilt if I don't. But it's not like I'm forced to do it. You know? It's a like exceedingly reciprocal relationship in that sense, like, you know, where it's like you just show up every day, and then so do you guys, but like for loads of different reasons. It's not just like, all right, he keeps me entertained or he makes me laugh or whatever. It's like I could not say something for hours and we just have the tunes on, and like sometimes I don't play music for ages and then I talk shit like this for ages. And like sometimes it's not talking shit. Sometimes, like, we've spoken about serious stuff, and like, you know, sometimes I'm sitting here and I can sound quite dark, but like in an analytical sense. I don't think I've ever gotten on here and like made anyone like, I don't know, nobody's ever people have texted me after the stream, be like, man, like, really good stream, or like, you know, you're helping people, or like, you know, like, love what you do or whatever. I've never gotten a text from someone being like, I hate your stream. Painting Goo makes me sick. Do you imagine? I think that'd make me want to do it more. What does that say about me? If somebody texted me after a Painting Goo, I was like, I think what you're doing is fucking disgusting. How dare you wear that headband? Like, or if, like, even if it had nothing to do with like racism or any of that shit, like, what if it, like, you, like, you know, like, if I don't wash the kimono and headband for a while, like I remember taking the kimono and headband off for a while. I was like, oh my god, fucking this thing's turning yellow, I need to throw this in the wash. And like, it's not because I'm like you know, a filthy bastard or anything. Like, it's because I, like, it's like a costume. I come in, throw it out, take it off, I'm done, you know? Like, when it comes to the rest of my life, I, like, you know, fucking, I'm like anybody else. Like, you fucking have a shower every day or two, like, constantly changing your clothes, especially as a guy, because you sweat a lot. Like, I got, like, fucking the female will tell you, I could go through 3 t-shirts in a day, because I'm, like, always, like, doing stuff, like, you know, especially in the summer. Even in the winter, I'll fucking, like, sometimes I smell like BO, like, right after I have a shower, like, a while, like, quickly after having a shower, because I'm just, like, on my feet, walking around, doing stuff, moving, rearranging things, sitting down, painting for a while, then getting, like, even, like, sitting down, doing this, I've finished this stream, and then, like, gotten up and, like, taken my top off and been like, holy shit, like, I'm, like, sweating bullets. Oh, Christ, Kepu. It's all about, like, what did I heard that, like, your brain burns, like, 25% of your total calorie burn or whatever throughout the day. I'm not sure. Like, you know, I don't know if that's true or whatever, but it definitely feels like it sometimes. I feel like I don't actually have to be that physically active, even though I am very physically active, go for walks all the fucking time, work out regularly when I can, like, you know. Now, lately I have kind of, like, I haven't worked out as intensely as I would prefer to be doing, you know. Just been, like, keeping fairly mobile and doing stretching and shit like that, like low impact stuff, like. But, like, I could be listening to tunes and just fucking drawing turtles, and then, like, an hour and 40 minutes later, I'm, like, tired, you know, like I'm not exhausted, like I need a nap, but I need to, like, get up and move around and, like, kind of shake off, like, how in the like, I'm being in flow is, like, there's a cost, you know. And I'm in flow a lot, because, like, sure, I do this for a few hours a day and I've been doing this for a while, but even, like, outside this, like, you know, like, that was, like, I've spoke about this before, that was why one of the things that started to happen to me was, I was like, okay, I want to do Painting like every day now, you know, because, like, I think that would be cool, like, you know, I think people would show up, like, all the time, and people have done, you know, bless you, Japanites. I'm delighted that you find me entertaining, you know, and all that shit. Like, I'm real, like, thankful and grateful that, like, I have this thing, you know. It's awesome, but, like, what happened to me was, like, I kind of burnt out a bit, cause, like, what I do outside Painting and what I have been doing for, like, nearly 4 years now, like, apart from, like, streaming regularly 2 hours a day, doing this stuff, like, it's incredibly taxing on the mind, you know. Because it's not taxing, like, it's taxing physically in the sense that, like, if you do most of it sitting down, and you're somebody like me who has poor posture, it can be killer on your back, you know. You sit down for 2 hours and paint some shit or whatever like that, and then the next thing you know, like, fucking, oh Jesus, I'm all locked up and stuff, like what happens here on Painting Goo, like, my ass will go dead, need to stand up, walk around for a bit, like, just in the one, like, focused work is like that, and it doesn't have to be something as, like, imaginative as art, like, you know what I mean? Welding's like that, you know. Welding's very similar, hyper focused work, you know. I really liked welding. There's something incredibly like, that welding is a flow state job to fuck, you know. Really like flow state job, like, something very there's something very, I wouldn't call it entertaining, meditative. There's something incredibly, like, like, welding for me, I'd say a lot of welders would agree with me, like, you know, maybe some of them wouldn't, but, like, I'd say the majority of welders would agree with me that, like, when you're welding, you're just, like, locked in. And in a lot of sense, it makes sense, you know, because you are, like, locked in, you know, because when you're wearing a welding helmet, you can see fucking nothing. I don't know if you know this, like, for anyone who's never actually tried to weld, like, you can't see shit, like, until you start welding. So, like, when you see them put the shield mask down, it's just, you're blind. You're completely, like, Like, sure, you'd be able to see, like, the inside of the welding mask, like, if you really, like, focus out or some shit, like, you know? But it's usually, like, right up, like, it's like wearing glasses, like, you know, it's really close to your face. And you can't see it. And then you start welding, and then, like, then you start to see shit, like, you know? And it's freaking, like, it's fucking really cool. Like, it's, like, it's an experience to fuck. You know, like the first time you wear like night vision goggles or something, like, you know, because like 1 second you're like, oh my god, it's pitch black, I can't see shit, and then and you turn these things on, and you're like, oh my god, there's a deer right there, like, you know, you start to see shit in a different, like, literally a different perspective, like, and welding is very like that. Like, you're like, Jesus, you put this fucking, you got those gloves, and fucking, like, it's real dangerous, and there's loads of high voltage shit, and like, you're gonna make metal so hot that it's going to turn to a liquid, and you've like. You start welding and like all these sparks are flying and shit. There's all this incredible amount of heat and all this stuff, like, but when you're just like focused on what's like happening and what your objective is, you're just putting these two pieces of metal together, you know, hopefully permanently, and like you just get lost in it. Like the whole world is gone. All you're thinking about is just like getting the weld right. And like painting's very similar to that, but not just painting. The way I paint is very similar to that, and I'd say a lot of artists say the same thing about the way they draw or whatever. But particularly like the whole pinstriping stuff. That's why I that's one of the reasons I love doing the symmetrical so much. Doing trim, can't chat but listening. Wonderful news, Gagano. I hope you're enjoying it. I want to put Karjitsu on now. It's hilarious. There's something about like, that's what like I would like to like pinstripe somebody's car eventually or some shit like that. Like maybe I would do that one day, but like I don't think I'd like to do that all the time. That's why I like doing the symmetricals. I like getting a panel or a canvas or anything. It just like it can be wood, metal, like, and it just a some sort of canvas medium, some sort of like something to put a symmetrical image on, and like probably would be really cool to do one on like a fucking big sheet of steel one day or some shit with like, what do they have to be? They'd probably have to be enamel paints or something. I don't fucking know, but there's something just incredibly satisfying to me about looking at something that's like pretty much symmetrical. You know, like some of my symmetrical paintings, like they're not technically completely symmetrical. Like the last one I did, the Deep Demon thing, like, you know, its left eye is not the same as its right eye. So there's like differences, but it's fundamentally symmetrical. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like a balanced, even image. And like a lot of them, like you can turn upside down and stuff, and they look completely different, but they still look uniform, and like they have a proper shape to them and all. Like, you know, it's weird. Like, you know, it's like I had a fucking, not that I had a dream, but I was thinking of one there the other day, and like I'm probably going to try and do what I thought of on the big canvas that I got. And I got the idea from this painting that I'm doing at the moment, Demolishes the thing for her birthday on Friday, where this idea of like perspective, like usually I just do like, they're basically 2D, you know, like some parts of them look 3D because of the pattern or like the you know, fractal nature of some of the parts of it, like that black and red one that I turned into a sticker for Stabaroo recently. I'll have to get some of these like up on the thing so I can just like share my screen for people watching or whatever, like, you know, but it's not really a big deal right now, like, but I do need to consolidate all of my art in one location. Like the female set me up in Etsy, and I have like, I set up a Twitter there the other day. So follow me if you're on Twitter. I don't know how many people I followed. I followed like MMA Junkie, Owen, and fucking Chris Gardner, and Tom from your man Tom Barnett. Like, I was like, who the fuck's on Twitter that I actually like wanna follow? You know, I followed some anime things, like, you know, like I like just looking at all the fucking, like, you know, radio, television here and like RTE news and stuff. That's like our national news and shit. Like, you know, and then like all this like mainstream media stuff, and I was just like, no, 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 no. Marvel Studios Twitter official, no, no, no. Like, I'm like really specific about the stuff that I consume now, and it's so much better. You know, like gone are the days where I'm like, oh, there's nothing to watch. I don't have anything to watch. Even though there's a lot, like there's a ton of shit out there, and like it's so degenerate, and like all these things. Like I'm watching this thing called Monk. I'm watching this series called Monk at the moment on Netflix, and if you don't know what it is, it's a series about this guy. He's a former police detective, and he basically has like kind of a mental he like pretty much a mental breakdown because his wife gets killed in a car bombing. I think she was a journalist or something, and she's like killed by somebody who didn't want her to write about something or some shit. And he kind of has like a mental breakdown, but he has incredible analytic powers. Now obviously like I've noticed some things like where you're like typical like early 2000s TV series mainstream stuff, where like there is like just like propaganda if you look for it, and like, you know, kind of preconceptions that are like, you know, you could call them pre-programming or brainwashing or propaganda. Like it's all the same really, I suppose. And there's other things that like, one of the things that a bad guy did, I was like, the decision he made in the moment, I was like, who the fuck would do that? But then again, you know, I've seen some and heard of some absolutely retarded behavior out of people in real life. So I often quite like I quite often second guess myself now. Well, not that I second guess myself. I kind of like, I'll be watching something, I'll be like, nobody do that. That's retarded, you know. And then there's a voice in my head that's like, you know, have you looked outside lately? Like, yeah, have you seen what people do on the daily, like in real life? Like, people do some crazy fucking shit, man. Like, people say and do, and like, well, you don't know, well, you would assume they think, but people definitely say and do some fucking wild shit all the time. And I just think that's kind of funny. Like, I'm watching this, like, you know, it's like a whodunit detective show or whatever. Like, you know, he's like mentally scarred and a bit autistic or fucking mentally fucked up since his wife died. It's been like 4 years or something. He hasn't gotten over it. Like, and he's like a consultant for the police, and he, you know, figures things out because he has these incredible like analytic skills where he sees what other people don't see, you know. But a lot of the time it's like really obvious shit, and that's like kind of the point of the show, from what I can tell, is like, you know, if you actually just like stand back and look at something for what it is and just like go through the motions of like being honest and like trying to not have like any mad like preconceptions, you just think of like pure analytical probability based on averages and like what you've experienced, like, and what you do experience on the daily, you'll just be like, well, people tend to do this and people tend to do that, and like you don't usually do that when you do this, and like, so doesn't that mean that like it's probably whore that killed him? Like, you know, like but there is still like, you know, typical fucking narrative things where you kind of look at it and you're kind of like, what the fuck, like that's kind of stupid, but like it's still, it's funny and it's entertaining. But it's like weird where like I went through like I don't know if this happened to you guys, but I went through a phase where like I was trying to read more and I was trying to do different stuff because I didn't want to watch things that like, you know, were converged or woke or gay or whatever these things, because like a lot of what I used to watch was, I suppose, not mainstream, but like the mainstream of what I chose to watch in the mainstream. And like, you know, fucking like me and the female were watching Orange is the New Black at one point, like a few years ago, when we were watching that, like in me ma's. And there's always been a time where we watch stuff together and then we watch different shit, like, but it's almost like I went through this phase where I was like, oh, everything sucks now, so I can't watch entertaining TV shows anymore. Like, but it's not true. Like, you know what I mean? It's like I think that's why I really like Tom Barnett stuff. Is like his view on things has really helped me. Has really helped me sort out a lot of my anger and a lot of my frustration. Where I'll interact with something or some aspect of our reality in this timeline, you know, the way the world is right now. And I'll become incredibly frustrated and tense and like, oh my god, everything's so fucking shit. These people are such psychopaths, like, you know. And regardless of how I feel about, like, you know, oh, like, I'm so glad to be a bear in this community and, like, the stream and, like, my art and, like, yeah, like, I'm slowly getting there, like, people like my stuff, blah. Like, I'm grateful for all these things and positive in general. But I still interact with, like, what we'll just call Babylon, you know. Just, like, you guys know what I'm on about. Like, you just interact with the world. And you get overwhelmed with, like, just how profoundly stupid it is, like, you know. And then, like, you know, if you're like me and you're kind of a bit of a, I was going to say poet, but, like, I'm not, like, a bit of a poet. I mean, like, I suppose, like, a romantic, maybe? Like, if you're like me and you're a bit of a romantic, like, it's profoundly sad, you know? I often get, like, overwhelmed with a profound sense of melancholy when I think of, like, why people are the way they are and, like, how things have gotten here and, like, how bad some things are when they really don't have to be, like, you know, and people could just choose to be happy and do different stuff, and it's profoundly sad, you know. But then, like, it's not my instinct to do that. My instinct is, like, to be like, it's grand, like, you know, like, and take the piss out of it, or, like, my instinct is to create. My instinct is to, like, do fun stuff. Say stuff that I think is funny out loud. And then people relate and they're like, that's hilarious, you know? Like, it is like the... It's weird how your empathy can end up making you, like, suicidally depressed. That's a weird trap, isn't it? How, like... If you're like me and you have like a good amount of empathy in you and you care, and then you look at the world and you're like, how the fuck are we going to fix all these problems? And then you go through all this truth shit and you're kind of like, oh, I can't fix any of that, you know? Everybody has to, like, assume individual responsibility for their life and all this stuff, like, do you know what I mean? But, like, there is that sense, especially as a man, I'd say, in a lot of ways, where, like, you have this, like, kind of protector vibe where you're like, you want to defend the weak and the innocent from the demons and evil forces, you know, like. But even then, like, you know, it's like look at Owen, like, you know, fucking, I'd well believe it that, like, you know, somebody in his position, like, you've got resources and you try to help someone and you give them, like, a lot of money, or, like, you pay for something, or, like, you know, you bail them out, or you give them an opportunity, some shit, like. And then, through no, you know, negative action on your part or whatever, like, you know, like, shit just happens, like, you know, like, or they fuck up, or, like, you know, it turns out that they weren't, you know, up to the task, or, like, anything, like, you know, and then they end up fucking turning on you and going nuts and all this shit. Like, that's, like, profoundly upsetting, you know. In a world where, like, most people are being deceived and actively deceiving, and then you finally come across someone who's with, you know, like, oh, you need money? I got money, nigga. Like, here, take my money. And you're like, oh my god, thank you, and whatever, in the moment, and then, like, you fuck it all up. It's crazy. Especially as, like, especially as an adult, you know? Because, like, I've done that. But, like, with my father, and I was a child, you know? Now, I'm going to give you this €50. No, you don't spend it on cigarettes. You know, like, that's not the same thing. You know, like, I wasn't, like, I didn't see it as my father, like, like I was used to that because that's how I was raised. I was raised that like he would like help, you know. I never wanted him to like save me or bail me out of situations like that I didn't, you know, because like I always did try to do things on hard mode and like face the consequences of my actions and stuff like that. Like, and in a sense, he did teach me that. But in another sense, like, I think certain things I'd fail in, and he'd be like, he'd have to bail me out. Because I'm like asking him like, what do I do? Like, oh, like I don't know what to do, and I'm profoundly like frustrated, and I don't know what to do. Like, so what do I do? And because he didn't know how to teach me what to do or show me what to do, and he didn't want to let me figure it out on my own, he would just try and fix it for me, you know? And then because he just fixed it for me, I didn't learn anything. Like shit like that's very, like shit like that's really like, you know, unearned knowledge, unearned wealth, unearned this, like, because I was thinking that the other day where like even people like Owen, like you hear lots of these people, it was like, I want my kids to have this and I want my kids to have that and all, and it's like, you know, be careful though, don't make it too easy on them, because there's loads of aspects of my life that like I'm happy that things were shit for a long time because it taught me so much about myself. Like if you go through like years of like stuff not working and you not knowing how to do things and like shit not working out well or right or all that, like, you know, it's kind of like you sink or you swim kind of thing, like, you know. And like in a sense it can come across quite like, oh Jesus, like how could you do that to your own child? But it's not like I was really ever put in any like actual like immediate lethal danger, you know, like a wild animal was going to eat me if like my dad didn't fucking do something, like, do you know what I mean? Like it's like, and I was never really like, I know this probably sounds mad, like, but like I was never really scared of becoming in quotes homeless. You know, if I didn't have a job for a while, or like if my ma was going crazy being like, you need to get another job and get the fuck out of this house and all, like, and I was always just like, even if the shit proper hits the fan and like everyone fucking like just completely turns into a dick, like I'll survive it. Like I'm not gonna die. Do you know what I mean? Like, and like I'll find a way. Fundamentally I was always like that. I was like, oh well, I'll do, like I have this like, I don't know if like maybe that's an unearned thing. I've always had this like underlying sense of like, no, I'm gonna be fine. Like I'll live. It's gonna suck. Like there's loads of things around. I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna suck. This is gonna suck ass through tube, harshly. Like, and I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. Like, but I've never had moments where like, and like I've had moments where I'm like, I'm really upset. I'm like profoundly upset. I'm crying. I'm angry. I'm all these things. Like, but I've never had a moment of like actual despair where like, what am I going to do now? Like in life in general, you know. I've always had a sense of like, well, I'm sure like I'll be okay and I'll end up doing something. I know what I like doing and I know what I'm good at. It's weird, like it's weird noticing the things you learn about your own like fundamental personality makeup when you're going through a lot of like you know, not having a job and not having money, and like you're just gonna get another job, or you're gonna try and in quotes do something with your life, or like are you gonna have a job and like try and follow your dreams in quotes on the side, you know. Like I've tried doing that. I've tried like having like a part-time job or a job, and like when you come home like drawing or painting or whatever, and like I think that's why so many people hate having a 9 to 5, because like that's not like, I don't think it's how like a lot of people work. Like, I definitely don't work like that. I need, like, my, what I do in quotes as like what is a job? You know? Like, is a job what you do for a living? Or is a job what you do so you can live? But you're already alive. You're not doing something so you can live. But I do the job, so I have food and I have, like, you know, a place. So, like, but it's like it really is, like, when you look at, like, how all that shit starts. It's like the family unit, you know. You have all these, like, people who have children, and then, like, either get divorced or, like, even if they stay together in the same home, but they don't love each other, so the family unit is kind of screwed. So there's not enough direction in certain ways, and, like, it's crazy to me how, like, fundamentally, profoundly, like, impactful that the lack of that structure is on people's lives. Like, the amount of resentment, the amount of confusion, the amount of, like, uncertainty, the amount of, like, the lack of trust and shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, the people who made you, like, you don't trust their judgment on anything. Like, do you know what I mean? Because, like, they're fucking up their lives, like, so profoundly, left, right, and center. And you're a teenager looking at this, and then you have, like, a younger sister like I did, and you're like, okay, well, like, she's not even aware of any of the stuff that I'm aware of right now. And you guys are telling me that I have to get my life together and, like, get a job and, like, hundreds of thousands of euros somehow in the next few years, and so I can buy my own house to get out of your hair, even though you brought me here, even though I'm only here because you two fucked. like, you know, I'm trying to wrap my head around all this shit where I'm like, you guys are, like, literally putting yourselves before the people you made. like you made us. Like, you created the two of us, and you're putting your needs ahead of ours. That's crazy. You know, like that was why I didn't want to have kids for years. I was like, cause it, like, totally fucks with your head. Do you know? It totally fucks with your head. Empaths easily connect to others. Caution must be applied as to whom one's connection is being made. Totally, man. I've really struggled with that. I've really struggled with removing myself from people on an emotional level. Really struggled with that, you know? Because I've come to the conclusion, logically, that I'm like, this relationship is inefficient. Like a Vulcan. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I've come to the conclusion a few times in my life where I'm like, this relationship is not good, you know, like, but then how you feel about it, you know, it's like, because then you try and define love, because love isn't just like just sex or fuzzy feelings. Do you know what I mean? Love is like a connection. Love is like a bond, you know. It's like, what did I think? That love is like lightning. I thought that there yesterday. Love is like lightning. It's profoundly beautiful and enthralling, but it's also terrifying and very dangerous. That's how I would describe love. Love is like lightning. Because lightning is, like, beautiful to look at. You're like, oh my god, like, and it sounds amazing. It's beautiful. It's awesome. Like, the power of it, like, it's so incredible. Like, but that's why it's also like, you know, if a lightning bolt, like, hit beside you, you'd be like, Jesus Christ, oh my god, what the fuck? Like, we're all gonna die. Like, but, like, when you see it, you almost want to touch it, you know? Because it's like this. It's like you can just feel the power in it. You're like, isn't that what we, like, you know, we use like lightning, electricity, like that's you know, allegedly, you know, it's the same shit, like, you know, it's like that's the energy that we use to, like, power everything. We, like, generate it or, like, you know, conduct it somehow or, like, whatever. And it's like when you have that with another sentient, like, living being, when you have that, like, conduction of energy between the two of you, like whether it be male and female or friend or like fucking love, like, you know, like an intimate relationship or whatever between a man and a woman, because those are the only ones that exist, you motherfuckers. Goddamn demons. It's like, be careful. Yeah. There's like, what, like, you know, fucking with great power comes great responsibility, and like love is so fucking powerful. Like like love is like, it is way more powerful than hate, because like hate will like, how funny is that? It's like, you know, it's like AC versus DC current or some shit. It's like, you know, a hateful energy current like burns out the system and like is more likely to kill you, you know, than the thing you hate, or it'll destroy you both. You know, like, oh, if you're gonna go on revenge, like, dig 2 graves, all that jazz. But love is different. Love is like, you know, you fucking, it's like a charge that like charges both things. Now it can get you killed, but like, it's not this, like, it's not the same, you know? Because like, I know, like, you can do stupid fucking things because like you feel love for someone, like, so it still can, like, it can get you killed. It is incredibly dangerous, but it's not the same kind of dangerous. It's almost like, what's the difference between, like, you know, like, there's a noble way to end somebody's life, you know, like if you have some mad cunt trying to break in and murder you and your wife and children, like, and rob all your shit, like, and you kill him, that's really, you know, like, you know, spiritually, like, fucking, like, if you've never killed anybody, like, that, like, fuck you up, like, even if it's somebody trying to, you know, break in, kill you, rape your wife, kill your kids, steal all your shit, you know, even if it's someone like that, like, when you murder that guy and like the dust settles and you're like, need to get rid of the body or like call the guards or whatever, it's like, get that fucker out of here, like, you know, get that thing off my land. Like, it's gonna affect you, like, do you know, like, I'd totally be like Owen if I had like all them animals, even the chickens I went to kill. There would be like, you know, even something like a chicken that I'm about to just go and just like fucking sever the thing's head, and I know how good that thing's gonna taste, and I know how good it's gonna look when it's all like golden brown and covered in gravy, you know. Like, I fucking love steak as much as the next guy, like, do you know what I mean? But that's why, like, that's why everything matters, like, do you know what I mean? I think we're supposed to be stewards here and shit, like, you know, and like, like an animal having a life with a good farmer is objectively a better life than like it does just naturally in the wild. I think that's what we're supposed to do. It's like, these are the parameters of natural law, and we're supposed to behave in a manner that complements natural law, you know, like, makes it better. We don't, like, not that fucking, what's that fucking thing called where it's like fix the world, Talmud or whatever fucking, I can't remember what the saying is, somebody probably put it in the chat. I'm not talking about that. It's like, I'm not talking about fixing something because it's not broken, but how do you like help something do what it does even better? And like, if you're just like a bunch of cows out in the field in the wild, like, do you know what I mean? Like, would you rather be like just randomly one day over the course of 5 or 10 minutes eaten alive by a pack of wolves, or would you rather be kept and watched and fed and sheltered in all sorts of ways by a benevolent human who then one day, only when your time has come, or like your use for him has come to an end, he like mercifully kills you in like the quickest, most painless way possible? Do you know what I mean? Like, I've seen lads who like literally go up beside their cows in an ATV with like a fucking silenced sniper rifle from like 6 feet away and just aim right at the cow's head and just go and just put the cat. It's amazing. The cow's legs just took, and the thing just like gone. Like, you know, like, like, I get it when people, like, you know, you have all these like pussy ass vegetarians and vegans and stuff being like, you know, it's horrible. Like, I don't agree with fucking, like, you know, warehouses where they like slaughter them in really violent ways. Like, you just hang the thing upside down, slit its throat, let it bleed out, like, and then you're doing it so like nonchalantly to like 50 of them in a row with a box cutter. That like you don't give a fuck, like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's like a horror show, like, do you know? That's like really fucked up, like. But if you do it in like a really clean and like natural way for the right reasons and at the right scale, you know, because that's like, that to me is like the root problem of all that, like the horrible side of like meat farming, like mass produced meat farming and stuff like that, where like it's the scale of it. It's like a physical manifestation of our collective gluttony and lack of impulse control, where it's kind of like who wouldn't want their own animals? Like, I would love their, like, I know there's lots of people out that wouldn't want the responsibility of their own animals, but like I'm like that. Like, you know, if I had the money and the land, I would totally have like a cow, you know, definitely a few chickens, and like I love animals, like, and I would feel that twinge, you know, even when I went to like shoot a rabbit or something. But like, at the same time, there's levels to everything. There's context and levels. There's nuance. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's one of the like, they're really trying to take the nuance out of life. Trying to just like, oh well, it has to be this way, and like that's the end of it. And it's like, I know they could argue the same, where it's like, there's only two genders. That's the end of it. Like, do you know what I mean? And they're like, no, there doesn't have to be. But like, again, it's the nuance of it. I don't think we should be changing the fundamental code of what's going on. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think we should be going against like the parameters of the given game. We should be trying to play in the parameters of the given construct as like creatively and as best as possible. But what people want to do is they want to lie and cheat and scheme and like find loopholes, and they don't want to do things the hard way and shit, like, you know. And I've been saying, like, I've learned an incredible amount of about myself from trying to do things the hard way, and it's totally worth it. I thought that again, I thought that recently, where I was like, it's totally worth it. Like, that feeling where like, even if it's only for like a couple of £100, like, I can't imagine what I'm gonna feel like when I sell my first like symmetrical painting for a few grand or something, like. But like, that feeling you get when you make something, and like you provide, not even when you make something, that feeling when you get that feeling you get when you do stuff that has a certain consequence or payoff, that like provides you with this incredible amount of like genuine satisfaction, you know, like real satisfaction, that like the type of spiritual satisfaction. It provides you with confidence, motivation, inspiration. It's what's allowed me to like find my faith in God, or whatever gods, or whatever, like, you know. I like, I sold my first painting for €50, you know. Some guy asked for like he wanted me to do like there's like a cover for somebody's album or some shit, like, you know, like something demonic looking, something very metal looking, you know. And it was very metal looking. And I wasn't even like, it wasn't like masterful, but it was clean. It was clean. It looked professional enough, I put a good amount of work and effort into it. It only took me a day to do it. But that doesn't mean that, like, it was easy or shit, It just means I'm good at what I do. That I was able to accomplish that particular task in less than 24 hours. But that's also what that's what flow allows you to do. Flow allows you to accomplish things in a like really in a really like tight time frame. Because you're not like second guessing yourself, you're not planning too much, you're not thinking about it too much, you're not trying to set up all of these contingencies in case it fails. You're not like, you don't waste a lot of time doing a load of secondary or tertiary things to do with the objective at hand. You just do it. And it either works or doesn't. So if you get like really good, like what's Vox Day is like, I love failing quickly. Like fail as quickly as you can, as many times as you can, like as quickly as you can. And then you get to this point where like, where I'm at, where like, I'm not like a master painter, but like I'll look at the clock and I'll be like, what time is it? What day is it? All right, what's the plan? What's on the noteboard? What's my objective right now? And I'm like, okay, so I need to do this now. And I do it and it's done. And like sometimes still, yeah, like with a thing like the Tactical Turtles or something, like I'll need to draw the thing 3 times. That's it. Which is pretty impressive. And it comes out looking like pretty fucking decent, like, I was happy with the Commando Turtle design. I part of me wanted to redo the Grenadier one, but like they're good enough to go on a t-shirt. And I did them real big. They're only look even better when they're like, small. Because then it looked like I put a load of detail in, like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's the awesome thing, like I was saying about, like, fucking perspective and, like, resolution and stuff like that. It's crazy. I think a lot of the bears are empathic to some degree. We seek out honesty and genuine connections in life. Yeah, like, a lot of us just got sick of the bullshit, A lot of us got sick of the bullshit. I like big style. I'm like that. Like I can't stand human interaction that's not honest and genuine. And like obviously in certain, again with the nuance of like in certain circumstances, like it's not like you expect a shopkeeper to be like really fucking friendly and like really enthusiastic about selling you something. Like it's not like that. It's like you can tell when someone is trying, like when someone tries to take advantage of you, or when someone tries to like force something upon you, like like door-to-door salesmen, or ads. Like most people hate door-to-door salesmen and ads, because like it's like somebody is trying to make you do something. It's like, they can't make you do it, but they're going to try their damnedest to convince you that you should do it, And then there's almost a part of you that feels like those fucking, like all those charity ads, like Oxfam and shit, where it's like, on one way has to walk 3 miles for a bit of water for her, like, and it's like, bitch, moved beside the river. Like, it's... They make you feel like with the music and all the like emaciated kids and all, and it's like, just give a $5, like fucking Oprah and The Rock asking for people to give to charity to help like the house. Was it Maui that got like fucking went up in flames? And it's like, you have like unbelievable amount of wealth. Why don't you help out, you fucking cunts? You got these insanely rich people asking the general public who, like, in times like this, are like, everyone's like broke, like, or if you're not broke, you have like very little like expendable income. And like all these fucking, like, you bet the ads are like U2 or like it's always some hyper famous person with a shitload of money who's surrounded by, you know, people with shitload of money, and they're asking you, the viewer, to like give £5 a month to, and it's always like that. It's never like give €2 once. It's a one-time thing. We're gonna collect €2 from everyone in the country for this one thing. We're gonna buy a big fishing trawler for this village because they're desperate as fuck. It's never that. It's always like a subscription, you know, like a permanent one to like Oxfam or something, where like, well, I support Amnesty International, like, you know, I adopted a panda. You know, like, there's a cougar somewhere in the realm that I adopted, and they send me pictures of him. And it's like that money's just like, whoa, it just floats out. It just floats out of your account. It goes towards it. Like, at least with like, you know, shit like Owen or like this or like my art or this stream or like certain things. Don't get me wrong. Like certain things. It's not like just people like me or people like Owen that it's like, you know, it's like there's things in life that you don't mind doing with your money because you're like, okay, I have money and I spent it on this and then I get that, you know. It's like the difference between somebody being like, oh, I have a load of money now, or, all right, what are you going to do with it? I'm going to buy a Rolex. And you're like, you're going to buy a fucking, like, insanely expensive watch for, like, 39 grand? Why? It's a watch. like, if I'm going to spend that much money on something, it's going to be something like a house or a car or, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like people's idea of value, like whatever about your idea of money being like whatever, but like people's literal idea of like, I'm gonna get all this money. Okay, cool. That's not a bad thing. Amassing a load of wealth that you can then use to like buy resources and like help people and do whatever, like, you know. But like most people are like, I need a load of money. Why? Oh, I'm gonna do this insanely wasteful thing. like, I've done it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I've spent so much money on video games, and like in a sense that is an insanely wasteful thing to a point, you know. But at least with video games, you kind of like, it's like books or movies. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say it would be like a complete waste of money if over the years, like I'm what, 30 odd years of age now, and over the years I've spent a lot of money on video games, and I only really think it's a waste because I don't have anything to show for it in sense of like in a material sense. Like if I still had a big library of video games on all the consoles, I'd be like, oh yeah, totally worth it. It feels less worth it now because I just have one games console, the PS4, and all 300 of my games are digital and it's on a hard drive. It's all zeros and ones. But when you have something to show for like all of your effort, it's different, you know? So that's, I'm probably going to be like one of those collectors where like I buy a lot of old shit because I'm like, that's the good stuff or whatever, like, you know? But it's like, could you imagine being one of those cunts in Dubai recently who was like, you know, you fucking like spent an obscene amount of money on like a fucking Ferrari or something, and then you just see it floating down a fucking road in a fucking in a flood, like, do you know what I mean? Like that's crazy, like. Oh, good lord. Truth. Wealth is not money. No, like, yeah, like wealth is like your health is your wealth, but it's not like you say that and then like people think, I've even thought, okay, your health is your what? So as long as I am physically healthy, I'm wealthy. And like to a point, like it's nice to be physically healthy, but you really need to be like healthy in like all the aspects of like what health is. You need to be like spiritually healthy and like mentally healthy and physically healthy. You know, there's a trinity for you. Fucking like, you need like your mind and your body and your soul need to be like in good places. in order for you to go about your life and be able to conduct yourself in a like a good and true and beautiful way, like, you know. And like a lot of modern life, you know, whether it's done to us intentionally or not. And yeah, a lot of it is intentional. A lot of it's not. A lot of it just is because of the way people live and the way people are. It's like you can allow your environment and like all of these outside influences to dictate your decisions. Oh, gross, Keppel. Or you can choose to be like, no, well, like ultimately I'm in control of what happens to me, you know. And I genuinely believe that, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I do genuinely believe, like, you are completely, like, almost entirely in control of what happens to you. Like, I know random shit can happen out of nowhere, like, do you know what I mean? Fucking, like, you'd be living somewhere and an earthquake happens and, like, maybe you died, like, you know, if you were in that place in Japan when that tsunami hit, like, literal acts of God, where, like, 1 minute you're having a coffee, next minute you're, like, you're 2 blocks down the street, upside down in someone else's garden, like, impaled on a trampoline leg or something, and you're just like, what the fuck happened? Like, you know, you don't really have any control over that, like, but even in that scenario, if you, like, weren't afraid and you were just, like, in the moment and you're like, oh my god, like, this is crazy, but you weren't, like, freaking out, you'd probably survive that. Do you know what I mean? Like, like, that's how dudes, like, survive, like, war and shit. It's not just because they're very efficient killing machines. It's also, like, you just have that, like, it's the guy who doesn't stand up and go, hey, where's the thing? You know, do you know what I mean? Like, because there's always that in the movie where, like, everyone's taking cover, and then someone goes like, oh, but we need the thing over there, and, like, everyone's like, yeah, but if we move, we're gonna get shot. Like, do you know what I mean? And then some fool is like, I'll do it, and then he, like, moves, and he just immediately gets it in the head. Like, you know, it's like there's always a way. There's, like, it's ego a lot of the time that, like, and, like, those voices in your head that are like, you know, like, no, we need to do it now. Like, I'm almost fucking, like, I haven't even read the Bible, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I kind of want to, like, you know, like, genuinely, like, get a proper one, like one of the big leathery ones, and read the whole thing, because the whole do not be afraid thing, like, really speaks to me, because when I ponder on that, that makes so much sense. Where if we were just animals in the natural world, and you have a fear response to anything, you know, to any given situation, whether it be a predator or, like, not, like, you know, if you have a fear response, having a fear response to something drastically lowers your chances of surviving or navigating that scenario well and coming out on top, or even just coming out and breaking even, you know, like, i.e. not dying, you know, like, or not coming off worse. But, like, if you have a fear response, then, like, you're almost submitting all of your control to, like, oh, just take me, like, whatever happens happens. But if you, like, go with the flow willingly, do you know, like, there's a big difference between, like, floating down a river and then, you know, things start to get rapid and you being like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, instead of being like, you know, okay, well, what if I just kind of, like, preemptively start leaning that way, and by the time it gets, like, really bad, like, I can just, like, walk on the land. Like, maybe I'm a bit, like, woo-woo about my thought processes, but, like, that's what it seems. It's like, if you're just paying attention, you know, then you shouldn't ever be, like, caught completely off guard, you know. Like, I'm sure if you were really present and in the moment and aware, and, like, you were in that location where, like, in Japan where that fucking tsunami hit, something would have, like, you would have been like, oh, I'm gonna go to shop for a coffee, but you always go to a particular shop for when you want a coffee, and you get in your car and you drive to that shop, you know, and you get a coffee, and then you drive back down the road to go back home, and then you're like, oh shit, what's going on? And everybody's fleeing from a fucking tsunami and all, like, and you're like, oh no way. Like, so you just get back in your car and you drive even further away. But if you had never gotten your coffee, like, your house was like one of the first ones to get hit by the tsunami. You know, and it's like one of those things where it's like, you never know where, like, going with just like going with the flow and having a positive attitude is one of those things where you just make an in the moment decision where, like, if you hadn't have, like, been going with the flow, you would have been dashed upon the rocks. But because you went with the flow, you went around the rocks. You know, like, it's like, that's where, like, don't be afraid makes a lot of sense to me, where it's like, don't let the river be in control completely. Don't let your environment completely dictate what, like, if a dog, like, if you're like treading water and a shark attacks you and you just accepted your fate, like, do you know what I mean? It's like, oh no, he wants to eat me, or I'll just let him eat me. Do you know what I mean? Like, that to me is, like, fucked up. Do you know what I mean? Like, by all means, be like, fuck off, like, punch the thing in the nose, fight. But don't be, like, afraid. Like, it's like when you get afraid, like, you literally give off, like, a different vibe, different pheromones, different, like, you know, like, people and animals react to you differently when you give off that sense of, like, I'm scared right now. It's almost like, it's like an icky feeling. Like, I've been around that before where, like, I'm like, let's do this. And someone is like, oh, I don't know, you know, and you're like, buzzkill, you know? And don't get me wrong, like, you know, there's scenarios where, like, someone else is like, yeah, like, really enthusiastic about something, and I'm like, this is a bad idea. But I'm not coming from a place of fear. I'm coming from a place of, this isn't gonna work. Do you know what I mean? You look at it, like, in an engineering sense, where, like, no, if you do that, you're gonna fall. Like, you know, like, I'm not coming from a place of, you know, what if he falls? Or, like, you know, what are we gonna do if something happens? You know, I'll look at things and be like, no, that's a bad idea. And then I'll look at other things and be like, oh, that's a good idea. And when I have fears, I'm like, you know, is it rational? Because you have rational fears. It's like, you could have a fear about something and then be like, okay, yeah, like, there should be a part of me that is afraid about that, but, like, for good reasons, you know? And it's not that it's going to stop me from doing that. It's like, that's just going to make me more responsible and cautious while I'm doing that thing. You know? It alters your acknowledgement of the fear of something, alters your perception of the thing. But if you were to actually let the fear dictate how you interact with the thing or the situation, that's even more different. Now your fear is dictating your behavior. It's just when it's the same as when you're angry. You get so angry, you're like, oh, you put a hole in the wall with your fist, like, do you know what I mean? Like, fuck this, you just smash something, like, you know, throw the tool down on the ground. Fucking thing's not working, like, fuck's sake, like. You're not in control anymore. Now your anger is. Like, it's a fascinating thing to actually come to the conclusion of, where you're like, okay, so you have, like I said, like, ages ago, like fucking 2 hours ago, I've been sitting here talking for 2 hours. It's one of those days. Like, when you have those situations where, like, oh, I shouldn't have looked at the clock. It's like it's like looking down when you're climbing really high. You look down, you're like, fuck, what was I thinking? that is the boomer thing that BB has been talking about. Yeah, like I remember talking about boomers. Yeah, this is a lot of what I wanted to chat with you about tonight. Sync, yeah. I dig you on this point so much, Alex. God is so much help for me in my realm. I am grateful every day, especially when I when I let go of fear. Yeah, like I've like seriously, the last like 2 days I've been like on fire, like in an energy sense. I'm not talking about like I've been on fire, I'm crushing life so hard. Like I'm not talking about like in that sense. I'm talking about like just I have a lot of clarity going on right now. Like, you know, the past like 48 hours or so. Like a ton of clarity. And that's like, you know, when that comes to you, you should pay attention to it. When you're like, when you feel really switched on, where you're like, oh no, I really know what my surroundings are right now, and I'm really aware of like who I am and what I want and how I should get there and what is right and wrong, and like I feel really like in control of myself anyway. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I feel like in control of me to a much greater degree than I generally do, because I still smoke, I still drink a lot of coffee. I don't drink alcohol a lot, but when I do, I like to indulge. I will admit that. I could go weeks without a sip of alcohol, but then I'll like if I have a nice like, you know, like I'm not one to like sometimes rarely I'll drink like just straight whiskey or vodka or something, like, you know, something strong with a bit of kick that makes you cough. But a lot of the time I prefer like I like feeling nice. I'm definitely like, I'm like a cat. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, like cats just have that kind of like vibe where they're like, oh, I'm so relaxed right now. You know, like cats have that vibe. Like, you know, dogs have that vibe where like, I suppose they have a similar vibe. Like a dog could fucking like fall asleep and like be all over the place and look hilarious, and he's just like dreaming about chasing biscuits or something. I don't know. Like I'm not sure how to pinpoint it or articulate it. Like I'm very into like tension release, I suppose is what it is, because I find myself quite tense a lot, because like you do have to make yourself like, you know, you have to make yourself rigid and focused temporarily to achieve certain things, to be able to like execute certain tasks to achieve a result that you desire. You need to like, you know, focus and constrict and become rigid. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like fucking throwing a jab in a fight or something. Like, you know, it's like you're not going to win a fight by going completely with the flow, like I said about the shark. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like if you're in a fight and the parameters are like, okay, you two are going to fight till like one of you is like knocked out or gives up or whatever, you're not just going to stand there and let him do whatever. You know, you have to impose your will upon him. So like it is like even a fight, when you look at two dudes who are like look really dangerous physically, and then you see them like kicking the shit out of a heavy bag, and you're like, all right, this guy can do this and this guy can do that. Like fundamentally, what they still have to do is impose each other's willpower upon the other one. That's why you get guys who are like, one of my favorite kinds of a fight is where like you have a dude who's like really flashy, he's superior in his technique, and like isn't necessarily like arrogant, you know. So he's like taking his time, and he's being cautious, and he's being smart about it, and he's like superior in technique, and he like, you know, he's very efficient at fighting. But there's just something about the other guy that like he can take such a beating, and like even though he doesn't throw well, he throws really hard. Like every time he throws is like potentially going to end the fight, and not because he's really powerful, but because he puts everything he's got into it, you know? Because you see guys who get, like, one-punch knockouts, and they're, like, fucking 5-0, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's, like, sometimes it doesn't matter if he's, like, Mike Tyson. It matters, like, you know, like, because speed equals power, too, like, do you know what I mean? And that's why everybody looked at Bruce Lee. It was, like, you know, geez, that lad would kill you, like, because he go like, "Ah!" And like, you just like before you could blink, you know, something happened to you, like, and then you know, any fighter will tell you that fucking like the one you don't see coming is the one that knocks you the fuck out. You don't even feel it, you know. You're there, like, you have a game plan. You're like, I'm gonna do this and then that, and then you go to do the first thing, and before you do the second thing, your man has dodged out of the way, hit you 3 times, and fucking like, yeah. The next thing you know, the ref is like looking over and going, whoop, 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 whoop. You're there looking up and be like, fuck, what's going on? Hold on a minute. I went to take him down a minute ago. Why can't I hear anything? You know, like that's kind of how I felt when I swung at that lad older, like years ago. Like, he's like older than me and slightly taller than me, but I thought I was being heavier than him. Like, you know, like there was loads of reasons why I thought I could take him. Like, I was so wrong. Like, I was like so wrong. It like changed my fucking world in a sense. Like, you know, I'm so grateful for that moment in my life where like I thought one thing and like reality was like completely different, and I was like, okay. It's like when you try to hit a target without like look at a target and like throw something at it, or like you have a bow or a gun or whatever, like, you know, and like you try to shoot it or throw it or whatever and you miss, and you're like, huh, fuck, you know, like it's like a fundamental lesson in life, like, do you know what I mean? Where like you're like, yeah, I can take him, and then like he just steps out of the way, fucking plants you on the ground, and it's like, you gotta stop now. Like, you're like so out of your league, it's not even funny. Like so fucking like, that's what, like, men benefit greatly from knowing where they are on the ladder, you know. Like, I'm tougher than that guy, but I'm okay. Like, I shouldn't fuck with that guy because like that guy fucked me up. Like, but like you should always be still trying to climb the ladder, you know. But like, there's like a sense of like, if the disparity between where you are and the other guy is like huge, you should be honest about it, like, you know. But then again, sometimes you don't know. Like, it's like I didn't know. Like, I genuinely believed, like, you know, I'm gonna fucking like, and you see it all the time in like in MMA and shit, like in the UFC or something. You're like, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And I'm gonna give him one of these and one of those, you know. And then the fight happens and your man just gets fucking wrecked. Like, it's fucking hilarious. Like, that's why that, like, life is just so much more enjoyable when you're just like, when you're honest about it. Because even in the moments where you're like utterly defeated and like embarrassed and like, well, that didn't go how I planned, like making excuses and like being like, well, if this had happened, or like you only won because of that, or like, you know, like all this shit. Like, you hear professional fighters do that sort of crap, like, you know, oh well, like I only had 3 weeks to prepare and fucking like, it's like, dude, your job is fighting. Like, should you not always be like forever ready to like tackle something, like, you know? But it's just, I just think it's so, that's one of the funniest things to me is like reality checks. Like, you know, like, I just find them like they're like, there's profound situations. You learn more from you learn more from bad mess ups than from what we do right. Yeah, because you don't, like, if you like if you do really well, you don't learn nothing. Like, in a sense, like, you kind of do. You don't really learn anything new. You might like have a reinforced sense of like, oh yeah, like, you know, I'm good at this or something, like, you know what I mean, or I knew that would happen, like, you know, like I said, like, it instills confidence, motivation, inspiration, all these things when you pull something off or get something right. But then, like, you know, like I've said it before and I say it every so often, like, I hate being right sometimes. I fucking hate being right. in a lot of ways, like, do you know what I mean? Because like sometimes you want to be wrong, sometimes you want to be proven wrong, you know. Like these days, a lot I find that we're like, um, you look at stuff like the in the culture wars and media and stuff. You're like, this new series comes out or this new video game comes out, right? And you're like, oh, that looks really good, and then it comes out, and then it still kind of looks good, and then more people watch it, and you haven't gotten around to playing it or watching it yet, and then you hear more and more about it, and then you finally do experience it for yourself, and you're kind of like, you know, it's like you knew that was more than likely not going to be, you know, what it was hyped up to be or whatever, and then you end up being right, and you're like, oh, here we go again, like all this hype and deception and bullshit, like for just the same old fucking like could you imagine someone who genuinely believed in politics for like the last like 50 years and you're like, this time like it's gonna be like the lottery, like, do you know what I mean? Like fuck it, like people who play the lottery, like God bless these people, like, do you know what I mean? Like my ma does that, like, gonna buy a lotto ticket, like, do you know what I mean? It's like, this time I'm gonna win. It's like, it's just wasting money. It's a waste of it. Like, you're just, that's not even hope. That's not hope or faith, cause like that's gambling. That's gambling, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, and I suppose, like, I don't know, like, you could argue that, like, in a lot of ways, life is a gamble, you know, like, you don't know the outcome, so, like, you're taking risks and stuff like that, like, you know, and you could argue that, like, life is a fucking gamble, so, like, betting on the outcome of a given situation, but it's a, you know, it brings a, like, it tends to bring out demons in people, but then you could argue that about anything, you know. You could argue that about fucking anything. You could argue that about sex, drugs, rock and roll, fucking everything, like, you know. Sometimes it brings out the best in people, sometimes it brings out the worst in people, like, you know. It's mad, like. Like, I like that thing that Tom Barnett says where it's like he'd be talking about alcohol or alcoholism or something. And he's like, I'm paraphrasing here, but he was essentially like, look, if you need to become an alcoholic to learn why you shouldn't drink alcohol, then like maybe that's what you need to do. That's maybe why you're here, is for your soul to like experience that journey and like for you to learn that profoundly like internal lesson of like, because like who do we, like, a lot of us like respect the most fucked up people. Do you know what I mean? Like these people who've like utterly wrecked their lives and then, you know, finally turned it around and like, you know, got married, had kids, and like lives on a farm or something, or like not even utterly wreck their lives, or just you know, a series of unfortunate events for God knows how long, and then it's not like they had like a stroke of luck or like, you know, they finally made it. It's like all of that suffering ended up paying off at some point, you know. Like that's how I see things. It's like if you're finding life difficult, it's probably for a reason. You know? In that sense, that like if you're really stressed all the time, if you're really scared all the time, if you're really worried all the time, if you're really like just like depressed and like negative like a lot, then it's probably because you need to like step back and learn something about yourself, because it's not the world that's like making things in quotes impossible, or you know, I can't do this anymore, or I can't do this, or you know, why are things this way and stuff like that. It's like it pretty much is always all down to you and how you interact with your environment. Like you can choose to, what was that? I was watching this fucking, or if you've ever heard of Gordon Ramsay, the fucking chef, right? Most people have heard of him. He's like mad famous, like, you know, and he's always like fucking shouting and stuff. The guy who taught him, right, Gordon Ramsay, is a guy called Marco Pierre or some shit, and a cougar adopted me once. I've yet to recover from her wiles. Man, you've no idea how much I relate to that right now. I swear to God. Oh, Good point, Julie. Fear is what disconnects us from God if we allow it. Yeah. Yeah, I really believe in the whole fear is the mind killer thing. Julie, check out Jamie Winship. You'll enjoy what he has to say about these topics. I'm Anmaru. Welcome to Rantingu. Yeah, like you're pretty much always in control. It's always like fear this mind killer is such a profound fucking statement. Cause like your mind, you know, you have your soul, and that's like, you know, you. That's like your essence. But your mind is like a tool. And like you can use a tool in a bad way, you know? Like a gun is a knife. A gun or a knife is a tool, and you could use a gun or a knife. You could use a tool to kill someone, to, you know, sabotage something or destroy something. You know, like if you could, it doesn't have to be as drastic as like using a knife to kill someone. It could be as seemingly benign but profoundly impactful, to like pick up a hammer and smash something that's like of profound, deep emotional value to someone, you know? Like this was my grandfather's it's my grandfather's watch. This watch stuck up his ass for years. The gooks didn't want the gooks to find the watch. Shoved up his ass. I don't want you to have it. It was his dad's watch or something, wasn't it? It's like, I like, but that, like, you could, like, you know, someone could communicate to you that they like, that something means a lot to them, like, do you know what I mean? And then you could like pick up a tool and smash it or whatever, like, and you're not killing anyone. You're not like, you know, it's not like murder, but like you will like affect that person on a emotional level. They will like resent you for that to some degree, you know, like they could be like a profoundly level-headed and balanced soul, and they'll just be like, why did you do that? That wasn't very nice, you know? And they'll just like distance themselves from you or something, like, do you know what I mean? They might not have like a big like, but then you'll get a lot of other people that'll be like, how could you do such a thing? Oh my god. And they'll like just be in bits, like, and then like they're crying for weeks, and then they hate you and like, and all this fucking shit, like, you know, like wars have been started over like probably like utter bullshit. Like there's literally a story about like some bitch called Helen who was having an affair, and like a dude brought an army to go get her. Like we have stories of like, you know, like whether they be fact or fiction, that are like, you know, they are like, even the ones that are fictional are created using lived experiences and human imagination, which uses lived experience, like, do you know what I mean? Like pretty much anything you make up has either happened or will happen, like, and we all kind of know stuff innately and shit like that. Like, it's just like, I don't know, I'm just rambling now. You are really going to enjoy Dune 2, brother. What the fuck does that mean? Am I gonna be watching Dune 2 and I'm gonna have like a fucking like epiphany or some shit? Like watching Dune 2 is gonna be a spiritual experience for me. I wouldn't be fucking surprised. I think that's why entertainment is so powerful. I think that's why all that media situation and entertainment is like so crazy, because like I like, you go into the movies and like, you know, even if you don't go to the movies, it's on a big screen, you know, we'll talk about scale and stuff like that. Like sitting around watching, what you're doing is you're watching a story, okay? So what used to happen, allegedly, what used to happen is we'd sit around a fire and people will tell stories, whether they happened or didn't. You know, whether they were allegorical, metaphorical, or like literal. You know, I remember this one time your uncle accidentally, you know, you like, you know, your fucking, like, your dad turns around to you like one night at a campfire. Is like, did I ever tell you the story about how your uncle lost his toe on his left foot? You know, like, and you're like, no, what? Like, it was like, well, he thought it'd be a good idea to clean his shotgun on a Tuesday outside in the rain. You know, like, and then la 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 la. Like, it's a story. That's all a movie is. That's all a TV show is. It's a story, and it's got characters, and it's got lessons, and it's got like all this crap in it, like, you know, like, and that's why, like, when we engage in that shit, some people, a lot of people, like my ma's one of these people, like, you know, even the female to a degree, you know, like, they just watch something to just, they just consume stories to just consume stories, you know. Or they consume stories in a way, like, you know, females kind of, like, in a general sense, consume stories differently to the way males consume stories. A female is much more concerned about, like, the relationships between the characters. Whereas the male is concerned about the overall plot, you know? What is the point of this story? What is the lessons learned in this story? You know, who is the bad guy? Who is the good guy? What is the moral... What is the moral point, you know? Why? Do you know, like, why am I listening to this story? Whereas a female is kind of like, but is it a good story kind of thing, maybe. I'm not sure, because, like, the interplay between characters, it's like a different kind of drama. Do you know what I mean? That's why there's, like, you know, chick flicks and then action movies, you know. At least it used to be like that, like, do you know what I mean? It used to be a known thing, like a lot of things, that was like, you know, as the boys' bathroom, the girls' bathroom, like, do you know what I mean? It was like chick flicks, and chick flicks are fucking gay, and action movies are fucking awesome. Like, big stumpy robots kill aliens, go bois, like, you know, like, versus like, I've loved you since the day we met. Like, no one can tell me I like don't have a profound amount of love for Wishy, but like, I can't remember what day it was when we met, or what date it was the first time we ever met. It's always it even says that in that show, Monk. Do you know what I mean? He recalls the day he met the woman. You know? Like, oh, was it love at first sight? Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, and like, does that make me an asshole, or does that just make me actually a man? You know, because like, men aren't concerned with such things. Like, I'm concerned with other shit. Like I don't give a fuck about money. I give a fuck about why I'm trying to make money. Like, you know what I mean? And that's what that's why they hate people like me. They're like, we can't buy him off. It's like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? It's like, if somebody just walked up to me, you know, with, like, didn't matter what they were wearing, like, you know, like, if somebody just walked up to me, because you think, like, you know, fucking sunglasses, black suit, like, black briefcase, but if somebody walked up to me and handed me €1 million right now, immediately, like, you know, anyone with a brain, anyone with, like, a slight awareness of reality in themselves, like, immediately you'd be like, okay, what's this about? What am I consenting to here? You know, like, here's €1 million. You could just have it. A big smile on his face, like, you know, here you go, buddy. Down on your luck. Need a pick me up? How about €1 million? You know, like, it just hands you $1 million or €1 million, whatever. Like, and you're just like, how many of your problems is this gonna solve? And like, sure, a part of you would be like, oh my god, that is so tempting, because like, I could do this and this and this and this and this. But there's a part of you that knows that's like, what's the catch? Nothing's for free. Do you know, like, nothing's free in that sense. Everything has a cost. You know, whether it be energetically or time or like something. That's why everything matters. You know, like, have you any idea how long that vein of gold has been sitting there waiting to be found in that mountainside? Like, you know, have you any idea how long that pebble has been at the bottom of that stream to be that exact shape and size and color that when you pick it up, you're like, oh, that's a really pretty pebble. You know, like, You can't buy that. You can't buy what time and will does to things and situations. You know? You could use money as a motor. You could turn around and pay someone like, I'll pay you $1 million to do X. And then they're going to be like, oh, that might be worth it. What do I have to do? You know? And then it's like, well, I don't want to do that. You know, like, and then everybody has their price and all that shit. Like, it's fascinating, you know, the whole Faustian deal thing. Like, stories had a different place in another time. My dad is part of the silent generation. His stories are different. Your dad's stories fucking are awesome. I love talking to your dad. It was so cool, just like sitting there drinking, smoking, talking, like fucking roaring fire going, looking up at the stars, you know. And it was so cool because he was in the, what was he, in the Air Force, you know. Well, we used to get the box of 22s and, like, you know, get our rifle and, like, because he's a Texan and all, like, you know, it just, the whole package, like, I could literally sit there and listen to your dad talk for fucking hours about just his life. And, like, how cool is that? Do you know, that's what you want. Do you know what I mean? You want a life that's so, like, fulfilling and interesting and, like, funny and sad and everything all wrapped into one, that when, like, someone sits down and goes, so, Jerry, you know, tell me about yourself. And you're, well, I, like, you know, and then 4 hours later, you're just like, this guy's awesome. I love this guy. He's like, what the fuck, like, do you know, like, and that's what I want. That's what I would love, like, whatever about your grandkids. But, like, anyone willing to show you anyone, like, willing to give you their attention, do you not want it to be worth their time? You know? Like, that's why I'm so grateful that, like, when I fucking, like, I've literally sat here and just talked shit. You know, you could easily argue that, I haven't just talked shit. I've said some, like, arguably profound things and, like, cool things and, like, you know, life lesson shit or whatever, and, like, interesting things, whatever. And I'm talking, like, openly, and, like, you know, you hear that ring of, like, I'm just flowing or whatever, like, you know. But, like, you could also argue that I just, like, sat here and just talked my ass off shit for, like, 2 hours, 40 minutes. And, like, there's been people here the whole time listening to me. And, like, saying things. And having things to say about what I have to say. And agreeing with me. I have a hard time with yesterday. I'm starting to get to that time. Man, I had this thought, right? And I'm sure there's probably people that would be like, duh, you know, but I had this thought. You know the way a lot of people, like, you know, a lot of people think time is linear. There's the past and there's the future, and then there's now. And if you had a time machine, you could go back to the past or forward to the future, and you could change things. And if you went forward and changed something, it would affect the past, and so on and so forth, right? But, like, I am genuinely starting to think that time is, like, circular, because it is. You know, like, and I don't mean in, like, the sense that I, you know. Yes? Do you want me to? Oh, I'll wrap it up in a few. No, I'm okay. Thanks. It is circular. Cause think about it, like when humans first started fucking tracking time, it was circular. Cause you're gauging it off the sun. So you'd be like sundials were round. You know? And it's like, if you just look at a digital clock, it just has numbers on it. And it just starts again and stuff. So you don't think circular. You're just looking at a screen with numbers on it. Like, but if you look at a proper clock, or if you look at a sundial, time goes around. And it goes from beginning to middle to end and begins again. It's cyclical. We used to represent time literally, like visually, as being circular, having revolutions, cycles, you know, and like a lot of today, every time you look at time, it's just numbers beside each other with the 2 dots in the middle. And like, it's not the same thing. That totally allows you to think of a more linear sense. Because like, think about it, right? When you're doing maths, for the most part, or even when you're writing language, you go from left to right. But you go in a linear fashion. You know? When you're writing a story. He went to the shop, then he bought an orange. Left to right, left, back to left, back to right, back to left, back to left. But because it's on a line, you're like, that's the beginning, that's the middle, that's the end. You know? But like when you look at a sundial or you look at a clock, it's circular. And I think that's a big subliminal symbolic thing. Because how you think about things, how you perceive things is very important. We obviously like know this, you know, depending on your perception of any given situation. It could be like really bad or really good and all this stuff. So if you perceive time as like the past is behind me, future's in front of me, I'm now moving towards the future and away from the past. It's not that though. It's just like, it's the same thing over and over and over. It's Groundhog Day. But if you're aware that it's Groundhog Day and you start taking, like, that's why I love that concept where it's like, oh no, I wake up and like the same thing keeps happening. But like everyone, that's everyone's life. You wake up, the sun comes up. You know, the same people do the same shit. They might do slightly different versions of it, but most people do the same thing every day. Like pretty much everybody has like a fucking basic routine, like habits, you know, even crazy people, you know, like, or seemingly crazy people. Like there's an old man that lives across the road that like almost every day at some point he will stand like up the road somewhere and look up at one of the buildings at one of the windows, and he might be there for like 10 minutes doing it, like, and I have no idea why he does it, but he does it all the time. Like, it's like, I think there is, like, I think we chose to come here but can't remember. I don't know why yet, but I have a feeling it's because that if you remember choosing to come here, it defeats the point of coming here, you know? So, like, because then you wouldn't, like, you'd lose out on a lot of the learning process. And I think we all have, literally, I think we all have a place and a purpose. And we need to willingly choose to assume that place or purpose. You have to choose it. And I think that is like a big fundamental reason why there's like so much fucking chaos and turmoil in the world right now, because you have all these people convinced that they're supposed to do certain things and don't make the connection of like, well, I have to do this. Well, like, why? Because then this might happen. You know, it's like, and they're leading these profoundly miserable lives. And then there's the people like us who are like, well, I don't have to do that, but like, I could do this. And then we see things from a completely different perspective. And then like that in itself is like a dualism, like, you know, where like, no wonder there's so much conflict. Whatever about evil, whatever about good and evil, whatever about malevolent intent and all this shit, like, yeah, I believe that stuff exists, but a large portion of it is simply difference, you know, like a difference of like, well, I'm over here and I see it this way, and you're over there and you see it that way, and then like you add ego, which is like, well, I feel like from where I'm standing, I am right, you know. And then you have these people who will like literally kill each other over their viewpoints. Well, your viewpoint is wrong. Well, if you stood beside me and saw it from where I'm standing, perhaps you wouldn't want to kill me with a pitchfork, you know? And then like there's like a lack of not only understanding, but like, you know, people need to be willing to not just cross physical distances, but cross spiritual and intellectual distances. You know? Like, I think a truly intelligent person is someone who can effectively communicate with an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, someone who is like really intelligent, really smart, can effectively communicate and harmoniously exist with a fucking idiot. And like, that can be really difficult to do, you know? It's incredibly frustrating sometimes to be around someone who, like, you think is a complete fool for all sorts of reasons. And like, crossing that gap of like, okay, well, you see it this way and I see it that way. So how are we going to work together? You know? And it's not always like IQ, intellect, you know, what would you call it? Computational capacity. Sometimes it's spiritual capacity. Sometimes it's an energy capacity or a like emotional intellect like capacity, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's mad, like. And none of that has anything to do with like good and evil, I think. I'd like that, like a lot of that shit is like just people are different. And we find it incredibly difficult sometimes to just get along. Because our egos can be like, well, you're wrong. It's like, yeah, but are they though? You know? Wrong in what way? Like, are they wrong or are they bad and evil? You know? Like, you could be wrong and like not bad or evil. You just be wrong. And then there's the willingness to like change or try and be right or correct. But anyway. I hope you enjoyed this approximately 3 hours of me talking at my ass. Yeah. You are sweet, Alex. Thanks. Much appreciated. Dad loved meeting you both. Still talks about you making an impact on him. Really? No way. That's awesome. He had an impact on me, like, profound individual. It was one of the like in the short, like, what, few days that I got to hang out with you and your dad, and like me and him spoke like maybe like a few hours at a time at length. Like total maybe like several hours. I was like totally like, you know, that dude had my full attention like the whole time. 'Cause I was like imagining what it must have liked to be him going through all this shit. It's fascinating. We all need some ranting goo once in a while. Indeed. Like, it's fucking loads on my mind the last couple of days. Like I said, I've just been like absolutely wired with like stuff happening, like both on a personal level, like family shit, and then like just moments of clarity and like stuff with my art and shit like that. Like, I've become an insane like an insane fan of this whole like, you know, objective thing, where like I didn't always used to do that. I didn't always used to write down what I wanted to do over the coming weeks. I used to just be like, oh, I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do. But like actually listing out, you're like, I'm gonna make a t-shirt, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, then I'm gonna do this, then and you don't even need to do it in order, you know. I don't number them, I don't put them in order, and I'm just like this and this. And over the last few weeks with the Painting Goo t-shirt and like doing Painting Goo every day and fucking trying to design the turtles and like, you know, the female helped me fucking design a fucking business card and stuff like that, and trying to get the money together for a webcam and making sure the internet is paid, and like, you know, just all these fucking things on my mind, and being like, okay, how do I execute all this efficiently and remain like unafraid, like, do you know what I mean? Because that, like, I'd say that's why I spoke a lot about what I spoke about tonight or this evening, was like, I'm really like starting to vibe with that thing of like, ooh, I get it now. Just don't be afraid, like, of anything, you know, like, and sure, you're gonna have moments like, you know, like if a fucking snake appeared suddenly, you'd be like, oh fuck, you know, but like, that's surprise, that's like momentary shock, that's a reaction, like, do you know what I mean? That's like, being afraid is like, you know, being a coward, like allowing the fear to produce a moment of indecisiveness in you, you know? Like, if you're afraid of something, you're like, I don't know what to do, what do I do? Like, you know, do something, anything. Just fucking, like, you know, like, that's what I'm like, do something, anything. Just fucking do something. You know, like when you're watching a horror movie and like the woman's like, oh no, what do I do? He's gonna kill me. Like, in a lot of moments like that, I'm like, bitch, pick something up and fuck it at him, or like stab a nigga, or like fucking bite him, scratch his eyes out, like, do fucking something. Like, there's like so many scenarios where like I see that, like, you know, is narratively presented in a story, or like even life or whatever, like a story from real life, and it's like, you just let that happen. You know, like, you just let that happen, like, what the fuck, like, you know, like, I don't know, but anyway, no matter what you let happen in the next while, hopefully it's good, true, and beautiful. My ass is completely fucking numb. I need to get on with the rest of my life. D, I'm sorry I didn't make any progress on your painting today, but I'm sure I will be able to complete it by Friday, nonetheless. I've been extremely distracted by other things, and I've been staying up late and saying happy birthday to people. So today I was very busy, very distracted by lots of things. My sincerest apologies. But I hope you enjoyed my ranting goo. And I will return tomorrow at 3 p.m. You can be assured of this, that I will return 3 p.m. tomorrow, the usual time. Usual place, usual high octane painting energy. I won't be sticking on meme clip videos for me to just sit here pissing myself laughing at. And we shall engage in the goo. We shall return to Beaumont Hospital, where Damarishu is making her epic escape. So, without further ado, at the 2 hour and 52 minutes and 52 second mark, I hope you enjoyed Ingo today's rantingu. I have been Defenderu, and I love you all. My beloved Japanites, it is a pleasure to entertain you, and to have you here, and to have your attention, and for you to indulge me in my rants and my prolonged ponderings of thoughts and life itself. It's been good. I hope you enjoyed. If you'd like to support the stream, the links are in the description. Buy something. Don't buy something. Just show up. That's what life is about. Just show the fuck up. Get involved. Do something. Right. Be good, be true, and be beautiful. And I'll see you tomorrow. Much love and farewell.